controversial traffic stops continued for 18 months, with 170 people wrongfully detained. Arpaio faces up to 6 months in jail if convicted, and has already been cited by another judge for civil contempt for the continued traffic stops in the underlying profiling case. District Court Judge Susan Bolton will render a verdict following proceedings that are expected to last about 2 weeks. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Crammed into tiny bar stools, cramped diner booths, and filthy cars where moving their limbs is either uncomfortable or impossible, hundreds of thousands of consumers rip apart chicken wings or tear off bites of Heroes and hamburgers every single day, often to the point of bloating, belching, and outright physical pain. Barbecue sauce or hamburger juice will literally dribble down these poor beasts' mouths and onto their shirts, their beards thick with pungent grease. Treated as little more than machines to be stuffed full of smoked pork, marinated chicken, and dry-aged beef, consumers are forced to wait in long lines, often while still fully conscious, before buying their meat and ripping it off the bone with their mouths in plain view of other consumers. The majority of meat consumers are often prodded to ingest vastly more than their bodies can handle thanks to cruel promotions like 25-cent wing nights and family-sized buckets of chicken. Help stop the brutality by visiting...
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. You can dial on in toll-free and join us here on the radio. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, and the Skype username here is LRN.FM. So big day today in the news for the libertarian movement here in New Hampshire, and I've yet to post this story over at Free Keene, so I'm just going to kind of let you know briefly what happened, and then maybe later tonight we can get into some of the details. But the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire did announce today its third sitting state representative in the New Hampshire legislature has flipped to the Libertarian Party. It was February of this year when Caleb Dyer, who's now just 21 years old, very young, state representative, he flipped to Libertarian in February, and then it was in May or late April when Joseph Stalcup, a Democrat from Keene, flipped to Libertarian, making him the second Democrat in the history of the Libertarian Party to make such a flip. Both Democrats come from New Hampshire, so one back in the 1990s and this one today. And then today, a second Republican, Brandon Finney, who's also youngish. He's 29. The first two gentlemen were 21 each. So a very young Libertarian caucus has been formed in the State House. We have three now. Not quite 1%, but we get one more. The Libertarian Party will have 1% of the New Hampshire 400 state representatives, which, by the way, the three that New Hampshire has is three more than the rest of the 49 states combined. So, yay for New Hampshire. The Liberty Movement is working. It's yet more evidence that concentrating our activism and people here is a successful strategy. Now, with you in the studio tonight, you've got me, Ian.
And Johnson.
And Mark.
We're going to your phone calls and thoughts. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. And you can Skype in, as our next caller is about to do, or our first caller is doing. Derek J. Freeman calling us, I presume, from the Seacoast in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Hello, Derek.
Wow, another victory for New Hampshire freedom lovers.
I know.
This place is the best. Pretty
Sure
soon,
is.
I'm going to get tired of all this winning.
Yeah, it's going to become not news after a while. So, oh, yeah, another state rep flipped today. You know, apparently it's just going to be a thing. At least hopefully it will be, because three is pretty good for half a year. I mean, it's been basically less than 6 months, and three of them have flipped. So hopefully we can keep up the pace.
Well, one thing I wonder about this is, are these gentlemen's votes going to change because their parties changed? And if not, I would presume not.
They're no longer going to be pressured by the party leadership in the big parties, which was something that not in the same way.
Certainly not.
There's a certain factor, and if we had one of them on the show, they'd be better to ask about this. But in their speeches that they've been giving at these, press conferences that have been happening in Concord, So whenever one of them announces, they call a press conference. The Libertarian Party comes out. I drag my camera out and record it. But they frequently will talk about how unfree they felt within the old two political parties, that there's a lot of political pressuring that goes on, and it's very icky, and I don't imagine it's pleasant at all to deal with that. So that was some of the reasons why they left, but they all have their individual stories. And anyway, you can go to freekeene.com and you can search for Libertarian Party, and the last several posts from this year would show you more about that and give you their exact opinions. But anyway, Derek J., you were calling for a different reason. But
just to cap what Mark was saying, yes, absolutely, their votes are going to change. That's the reason why they come out as libertarians. And to use a comparison of gay people who come out of the closet and then start holding hands with their boyfriend in public, yeah, they felt pressured to act a different way because they were Republicans or Democrats, and they had to go with the party. Like they had to pretend that they're straight, and I don't like that person. So yeah, I think their actions are going to change, and that's the reason for these types of announcements. Now, I have exciting news you and your listeners are going to want to see right now at the top of freekeene.com. You talked about it a little at the end of last night. The Free State Project has been exposed by Democrats. They are terrified of what's happening, the progress that libertarians and anarchists are making towards New Hampshire secession. Well, they see the baby steps they're taking, and they're alarmed.
I'm confused by all of this. Go ahead.
Well, they're alarmed, and that's why they're holding info sessions to get organized and stop us. So I posted one of these info sessions in full at freekeene.com. There's a video. I break it all down in text and audio. And so if you just want to, it's long, but if you just want to peruse and see the parts that are interesting for you, it's pretty easy to just scan through and find the parts that are interesting. There's even a Q&A session where Free Staters were invited to stand up and answer questions. And really the end result of this whole thing was that the local Rockingham County, that's the Seacoast Democrats here in New Hampshire, were more doubtful of the presenter than they were terrified of Free Staters, because in the end they saw that the Free Staters were open and honest and willing to engage on the issues.
Because there were several of you guys, just to interrupt here, there were several Free Staters, libertarian, activists who had attended this event and who stood up during a certain segment of this where they were asked to sort of reveal themselves. Oh, we know you're here. Would you mind standing up? And several did stand up, including you, Derek J.
That's right. It was absolutely the right time to do this. And you mentioned this in the end of last night's episode. I don't go into this reason in the article, and so I'll reveal it on air for you. The reason, the timing was so good. It was just like sometimes when the moment to do something is right, and the reveal was so perfect because I was in such close physical proximity to the party leadership of the Democrats that I've been hobnobbing and rubbing elbows with over the past few months.
You've been going to their meetings.
I knew that
they've been getting to know Derek Horton.
Yeah, and I've been attending their meetings and talking about the issues on which we agree, helping to keep the state police out of towns and expanding education, right? We're all for education, but it's being careful with the language. And then when they realized that, oh my goodness, I've been talking and becoming friends with a Free Stater, I feel so betrayed. They physically
I didn't know they could be gay.
Well, they were so repulsed and revolted that their bodies reacted. There was audible gasps in the room. Your listeners are going to crack up when they hear this audio. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I was going to ask you because so the video that you have here, was that you that was shooting this video? In which case you had said you were like right next to one of the main Democratic Party chair people or whatever from the Portsmouth area. So you do actually hear her gasp on the video?
The audio was delivered to me by someone else. I won't reveal the identity of that person, but it appears you can hear the gasps throughout the entire room when Free Staters are standing up. And there's also another audible gasp when the presenter mentions the word secession. It is such a terrifying prospect to these Democrats. And it's strange to me that they would want political union with Free Staters, with whom they so vehemently disagree.
But they don't vehemently disagree with Free Staters, really. I mean, what's so strange here is that they vehemently disagree with Republicans, with whom Free Staters disagree with a good percentage of the time. I call it 30% just for kicks. So why in the world would they spend all this time and energy exposing the enemy with whom they agree with 30% of the time when they could be spending their time going after the enemy they disagree with 100% of the time? It makes no sense to me.
Well, the best part is the Q&A. I hope that your listeners will skip through to the center of the video and take a listen to what the audience thinks about all of this. It's interesting enough to hear what the presenter's saying. She's got a lot of lies and slander, but a lot of it reads like an advertisement for the Free State Project. Oh, they help you move in, and they help you get jobs. Yeah, it's so evil. They do charity work to appear good in the eyes of the public.
Yeah, that is just offensive.
Derek, can you hang on and talk more about this?
No, we've got a cryptocurrency meeting tonight, so I've got to head out.
Well, I appreciate you calling in and taking some time. And it is a detailed piece with a lot of audio and video. You guys can dig into it over at freekeene.com. Thanks for taking the time to put that together, Derek.
Peace.
We'll talk soon. Derek J. Freeman, more coming up.
You have probably heard about Bitcoin and virtual currencies, but you really don't know what to do next. Maybe you feel like they have already passed you by. Nothing could be further from the truth. Bitcoin is an emerging technology still. It's still in beta and it's sweeping the globe. All the information that you need to learn about Bitcoin is at bitcoin.com. Go to your browser, type in bitcoin.com, choose a wallet program, get Bitcoins, and then spend Bitcoins. Bitcoin.com, the only site you need to know for virtual currencies. Bitcoin.com.
This is Ed Lukasevic.
And Cindy Lukasevic at Dinovite.
This year, whenever you order a 90-day supply of Dinovite for your dog, we'll send you a free sample of one of the other doggy things we make.
Like Liquid Chaps, Super Mega Fish Oil, or Doggo Suds Shampoo.
What's on your dog's wish list?
We'll offer a different freebie each week at Dinovite.com.
Don't you just love the sound of healthy, happy dogs?
Dinovite is nutrition.
Dinovite for life.
DINOVITE.com.
It's been said, any society is only 3 missed meals away from chaos. Those times may be near. Think about it. Our country faces multiple terrorist threats and aggressions from Russia and North Korea. Social unrest and violent marches yet again may lead to looting of stores and city shutdowns. And our crumbling infrastructure leaves our power grid vulnerable to long-term outages from a single cyber attack. When the chaos from any one of these threats arises, the government knows it can't provide during a widespread national emergency. That's why you need your own plan for self-reliance. That's where My Patriot Supply comes in. Get a 4-week survival food supply for only $99. That includes breakfast, lunches, and dinners. Order online at preparewithgcn.com. $99 for 4 weeks of survival food that tastes like homemade cooking and lasts up to 25 years. From My Patriot Supply. Get your kits today at preparewithgcn.com. Free shipping is included. Preparewithgcn.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nestle Pure Life Water, helping you drink better and live better by providing a zero-calorie alternative to sugary drinks. Visit us at nestle-purelife.us. When kids are playing, they often don't want to stop to keep hydrated, so send them out with a bottle of water and encourage them to take frequent drink breaks, or call them inside for a quick sip. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial on in toll-free here and bring up anything that you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. We've got Skype, and the Skype username here is LRN.FM. With you in the studio tonight, it's me, Ian.
And Johnson.
And Mark. I continue to use Simbi.com to much success. It's a slick and easy-to-use marketplace where you can trade your talents for other people's services and abilities. You don't need money. So you can forget the old economy. This is your economy. It's Simbi.com. You won't believe the diversity of services that they have over there. Hundreds of thousands of people are acting within the symbiotic economy. And you can go there. You can start an account and then begin to look around and trade your services with other people. It's fascinating stuff. Simbi.com. Simbi.com.
All right, so we just got off the phone with Derek J. Freeman. We're going to get back into more of your calls, but I do want to just comment a little bit further on what he had brought up, which was this seminar. I wasn't in attendance, but several liberty-minded folks did go to this anti-Free State Project seminar that was put on over in the seacoast of New Hampshire, I would say several weeks ago now, maybe about a month ago. And Derek has been working very hard on what is a very lengthy and detailed written piece summarizing what transpired over this hour-and-a-half, 2-hour-long seminar, and also including screenshots. So he got some screenshots of the presentation that they were giving on a screen there at this thing. And apparently there were like 70-something people that had come out to attend this. Some of the people that might have been interested in learning more about the Free State Project. And, of course, they ended up getting a very skewed view on it, given that it was the Granite State Progress Group, which is a leftist activist group here in New Hampshire, funded from outside of the state, as I understand it, to try to make government bigger in a lot of ways. And very interesting, results here. Interesting that they're even holding these seminars, because if you think about it, the libertarian movement everywhere else, nobody's having seminars about the libertarian movement. There's no, fear among the statists, among the people that love the government, these pro-state activists like Granite State Progress. There's no groups like that have galvanized against the libertarians anywhere else. And if there is, I'd love to hear about it, because it would really show that those libertarian groups were having an impact, like the freedom-minded people here that are part of this New Hampshire freedom migration that's been going on now for well over a decade. I mean, it's just point after point after point. We're showing crystal clear how obvious it is that we're having an impact here. Because if we were not having an impact, if we were just this irrelevant group of loudmouths that really didn't do much of anything, which is what some of the haters would have you believe about us, then they wouldn't be spending time on us. They wouldn't be spending resources actually researching. I was talking with the president of the Free State Project today. He says that Xandra Hawkins, who's the woman that's in charge of Granite State Progress, claims that they have files on over 1,000. Now, whether this is true or not, the claim is, and it's hearsay because I didn't hear her say this, but they have files on over 1,000 Free State Project participants that they've just been researching and digging through old forum posts, because we got some old forums that go back for years from before Facebook, like the Free State Project forums or the NHFree.com forums or the Shire Society forums go back before people were getting on Facebook.
Man, can you imagine how much somebody's getting paid to compile this?
They have a researcher
nearly useless information.
Digging around.
And then when they still come up with untruths. I mean, the basic
they have to lie about
the basic premise of this this whole seminar was to say that it's a secession movement, and
and they lied during it, by the way, claiming that that was actually part of the statement of intent for the Free State Project, and one of the people who was attending actually called them on the carpet on that lie, and they had to actually put up the statement of intent, which, of course, for the Free State Project does not say anything about secession.
Right, because I'm a Free State Project signer, participant, and I don't necessarily believe in secession.
Yeah,
I mean,
there are a bunch of them that
for
don't.
it, but I mean,
some are against it.
It's just, I think it's mostly just sort of hot air. So I don't want to be lumped in that particular area, but I can see why they feel threatened.
I love it.
I just think it's so odd. I mean, that they would spend all this time and energy.
We are the greatest threat to the state, and they are acknowledging it by doing all of this research and all these presentations. This was like year number 3, by the way. They've done presentations like this in different cities over the last couple of years.
Then why not just secede the particular the battlefield? I mean, at this point, they're losing. I mean, they're losing ground all the time. So
one of the flyers that they handed out, you can scroll down at freekeen.com on Derek's article, which, by the way, the article is entitled FSP Exposed, or Free State Project Exposed. And if you scroll down toward the very bottom, there's a graphic here of a flyer that was handed out to everybody upon entering the room, which says, "To resist, we need to get organized. The Rockingham County Democrats have a welcoming place to do just that." And then they give the address of the Democratic Party's offices there. And the suggestion is that they feel unorganized. Now, maybe this is just a recruiting flyer, but that's what they're trying to portray, is that these Free Staters are all organized and they've got all these different things that they're doing, like the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance and, Free Keene, which of course Free Keene has nothing to do with the Free State Project, nor does the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance. But because some Free Staters have been involved in those organizations, they just figure they're all under the umbrella.
The more names of organizations, the more threat they can show.
Right. And so, look, they're all organized. We need to step up our game here. And maybe they do, because maybe they are losing, as you suggest, Mark. It's a long road. It's not over yet. We haven't freed the state or anything like that, but we're having some distinct wins. I mean, this year has been pretty, from a political standpoint, pretty epic. We got
we're losing control.
Yeah.
We've got to crack down.
These
people are getting out of hand.
I love it.
We need to steal more money from them.
Well,
and make sure that they can't do stuff that we don't like because we're more moral than them.
We should be able to move here and change the system, but they shouldn't, because a lot of these people are from outside.
Most of these people are from out of state. So the whole notion that we've come here to use political power in order to get what we want out of the system in New Hampshire, and that's immoral, is absolutely ludicrous, because they've moved here with the intention of using political power to get what they want out of the system in the state of New Hampshire. So to point fingers at us, there's 4 of them pointing back at them. But what I think is interesting is that you should not fight where you're losing. Like these people want to be the holding guard. You know what happens to the holding guard?
Well, she's getting paid. Sandra Hawkins is getting a paycheck to do this.
She's getting a paycheck to lose.
Okay.
Does that look
still
good
feeding her family,
or look bad?
Well, and some would say that the Granite State Progress folks looked bad at this event because they were obviously biased and they were obviously not giving the Free Staters a fair shake. And some of the folks in the audience, they were picking up on that. They were picking up on that they were being lied to. In fact, they even got called out on one of their lies in the midst of it. So go and check out that story. I have yet to read it yet, just because I've been running around all day dealing with the Libertarian Party news about how there's now 3 Libertarian Party state reps here in New Hampshire. Again, that's 3 more state reps than all the other 49 states have combined for the Libertarian Party. So, it's just metric after metric after metric. Movers, political success stories, the fact that we've got haters on the attack. It's happening here, and more liberty-minded people like you, if you are one, really ought to consider moving. Go to 101reasonsfilm.com to learn 101 reasons why you ought to. More coming up here. This is Free Talk Live. Your call's coming up.
If there's a toxic chemical, biological, gas, smoke emergency while traveling at home or on your job, are you protected? Are you prepared? There are over 400,000 fires in the USA every year. Up to 85% of all deaths in a fire are due to smoke inhalation. 3 minutes without air, and we as humans will die. Be prepared and escape safely with our Safe Escape smoke hoods, giving you up to 60 minutes of breathable air protection. Order yours online at ase-safety.com. That's ase-safety.com. And get up to 40% off plus free shipping.
If you had purchased $100 of Bitcoin in 2010, today you'd have $2,600,000. While that sinks in, you now have a huge cryptocurrency opportunity trading at a guaranteed 7 cents per coin. ProCoin, a coin publicly traded on the open market, easily converted to cash, available in 60 countries, and ProCoin is the only cryptocurrency offering coin-back rewards for consumers and merchants. Take action by June 30th at ProCoinCurrency.net. That's ProCoinCurrency.net. Deadline for 7-cent guarantee is June 30th.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com. You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You dial toll-free here at 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. Joining you in the studio tonight, we've got me, Ian.
And Johnson.
And Mark.
Also want to let you know about Bitcoin.com. Great website to go to learn the basics about Bitcoin. Or maybe you are a Bitcoin expert, or you're not a novice anymore, but you're ready to get plugged in with what's going on in the Bitcoin universe. You can plug in via their forum. at forum.bitcoin.com. You can also get the latest news from the Bitcoin world at news.bitcoin.com. Bitcoin.com really is the destination for those looking for information about Bitcoin. Again, whether you're experienced or not. So go to bitcoin.com. As we continue, we'll go to your calls and thoughts. We've got Fraker on the line in Atlanta. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Fraker.
Hey, guys.
Hey, what's on your mind tonight?
So I want to bring up a foundational book for libertarian thought that I don't know has been talked about recently.
Okay.
Okay.
It's Frederick Bastiat's The Law.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we talked about it, but it always bears being talked about. It's
definitely a libertarian favorite. It's a short one,
it's
thank
short,
goodness.
It's clear. It's got full of great quotes.
Yes, exactly. It cuts right to the heart of every issue that the problems with the state. And I just want to bring up, in the very beginning of the book, he mentions why the state fails when it uses force to accomplish its goals.
And why is that?
And it's naked greed by the users of the law and misconceived philanthropy.
What's philanthropy?
So,
I'm sorry.
Misconceived or ill-conceived.
Okay. Right. The idea being that they can force philanthropy on people, and there ends up being unintended consequences when you do that. One of the reasons is because bureaucrats may not make the same choices that the rest of us would. Like, we might decide we want to give money to X organization, but they don't think X organization is good, so they're giving your money to Y organization. That results in all kinds of misallocated funds.
It's not really philanthropy when the government requires tax money to do it.
Correct.
Philanthropy
requires voluntary
generosity.
action.
There's nothing generous about demanding other people, give money to projects you think are worthwhile. But go on.
No, that's it. I just want to bring up those points. There's a lot, like Mike said, there's a million quotes in there, and that's a great one.
Awesome. Thank you, Fraker. Anything else you want to share tonight? I appreciate it.
So, I read Derek J's write-up on Freaking, and it was epic.
Oh, right on. Yeah, check that out if you haven't yet over at freaking.com. I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping to sit back and get into it tonight because it is very detailed, very interesting, and backed up by evidence, too. He's got the audio and the video to prove it. Thank you, Fraker, for the call. We're referring to Derek J's call from the beginning of the hour where he talks about just a really lengthy, detailed piece he's been working on for weeks now, summarizing this lie-filled hate fest that these haters have put on to slander and libel the Free State Project participants who've moved here and who've tried, to roll back the state and have had some success. We had a great time today out in Concord, New Hampshire. Again, I'm going to post. There's a video that's, I think, currently finishing up processing on YouTube. So before the end of the show tonight, I'm expecting to have the video of the third Libertarian Party member to flip. So he was a Republican. He's now flipping and has joined the Libertarian Party as a sitting state representative, bringing the total to 3 in New Hampshire. Now, previously in the 1990s, I was told today, I believe it was Darrell W. Perry who said this, that it was 4. So they had as many as 4.
That's what I heard too.
In the State House together at the same time in the 1990s. And so hopefully we're going to be able to reach that number and maybe even eclipse it sometime this year or later.
So first off, before we get corrected again, I'd like to say that it's in all likelihood that Frederick Bastiat's name is pronounced without.
You don't put the T sound in.
Bastiat. Yeah, one of those French things. You just drop off all the letters in the end. Yeah. And
thanks for that.
Secondarily, I have a difficult time sort of discerning how I feel about this libertarian, Republican libertarian flip. Now, I know that people listening may or may not know I'm a Republican Party member here in the state of New Hampshire. Now, what my goal is that the ideas of liberty are spread farther and wider and become more and penetrate further into the state of New Hampshire. Now, penetration to me means that we need to have legislative members who are good libertarians that stick by the principles, time and again, who are able to get reelected and who are able to work within the political process in order to get these things to happen. There's probably other things we need, but those are just the ones that roll off the top of my head. And what this says to me is that, wow, Daryl W. Perry, my coworker, is doing a bang-up job as the president of the Libertarian Party.
He's played a role, but Caleb Dyer, who's the first state representative to make the flip, as I understand it, he's been the one that's doing the real groundwork of talking to these state reps and, answering whatever objections they have or whatever, saying the things he needs to get them to flip. I mean, certainly Daryl and Roger and the folks over at the Libertarian Party have given a lot of support through the press conferences and all that. But it's Caleb Dyer who's the man on the floor of the House who's really recruiting these guys.
And that's great. So what I ask myself is that, what you claimed was that these guys were feeling a great deal of pressure from their particular political parties since they came from both Republicans and Democrats. We can't name just one because it was both.
That's correct.
They were feeling pressure, and that they feel like they can be better reps as a result of, flipping over to libertarian
I would say
status.
that's a fair summary of together what these gentlemen have said, the three that have flipped.
And that's what I want, right? Like I want them to be able to be better liberty reps.
Mm-hmm.
However, what I fear, and one of the reasons that the Republican Democrat duopoly continues to go on, and as a Republican, look, I acknowledge this. I don't think the political parties are particularly great for us or anything. It's just that I work within the one that I'm most likely to be accepted in. What my concern is that these guys might not get elected again in the future.
That's not your problem.
Well, of course it's – no. I'm sitting out here deciding how I feel.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well, there's
I
other
get
things
to
that are
feel-
important. There are other things that are important. So think about this. You've got now 3 sitting state representatives in New Hampshire, 3 more than the rest of the country combined.
Yep.
That's noteworthy.
Okay.
It's made the front page of the Libertarian Party newsletter for the last 2 issues. This has been the top story in the Libertarian Party nationally that New Hampshire has these state reps. That was the last 2 times. Now it's number 3. Maybe we're going to get another front page on the next one.
I don't see why not. What else is going on in the Libertarian Party nationally?
I mean, they're running candidates or whatever, but they're not winning
New
Hampshire.
But that's not front page news that New Hampshire has now flipped 3. So from a news standpoint,
that's a big deal. Now, it's not getting pickups in the mainstream media, but that's okay.
I don't know that particularly matters.
Right. I mean, it would be nice to have that happen. It would have been great had we had, all the mainstream media there at the press conference today, but unfortunately it was me and Brian, who's another libertarian.
So tell me why I care.
Do we want people to move here who love liberty?
Yes.
I would say yes.
Yep.
And if it is attractive to those people, we need to make it as an attractive of a state, of a destination as possible. And one of those things that is a feather in our cap is to say, hey, look, we got real live libertarians in their state house. Here's 3 of them that have revealed themselves. Now, there's probably about another 15 or so that are, hiding, if you will, within the Republican and Democratic parties. Now, it's kind of known who they are, but they're still as Republicans and Democrats. They haven't made that flip. But the number is impressive, I think, given that it has generally not happened anywhere else in the country. The only other state where this number of state reps being libertarian has ever occurred is New Hampshire, and that was back in the 1990s. And what happened between the last 20 years and now? Well, ballot access. There was a drop down in the gubernatorial campaign results for the Libertarian Party in the 90s. They actually raised the level of requirement that the party had to reach to the level where they couldn't reach it. So they took it from like 3 to 4%.
But wait, if they're flipping from other parties, then it isn't ballot access.
Well, no. That's what ended up killing them because they lost their ballot access, which made it harder for them to run candidates. Candidates had to then file petitions and jump through all kinds of hoops.
Right.
And now they've got the ballot access back as of the 2016 election. So we're going to see a full slate of candidates, hopefully, or as much as possible coming up. We're coming up. Free Talk Live.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Dash is set up to succeed where other platforms have failed. Give it a try at dash.org. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
You've said it yourself. We need a healthcare system that focuses on health, not sickness. Health insurance pays for treating sickness but gives you nothing for being healthy. There's a free market healthcare company that gives you freedom from health insurance. They give you a proactive health assessment daily, no charge 24-hour access to doctors. Check them out right now at healthexcellenceselect.com. Any kind of doctor, traditional, integrative, chiropractic, acupuncture, and massage. You'll love the service and price. HealthExcellenceSelect.com. HealthExcellenceSelect.com.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
You're right. I did. We get 30 days free.
And membership is only $9.95.
Yep. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
The FAA has issued a reminder that any plane can crash and kill you. Deputy FAA Administrator Serena Grant.
This year, there will be more flights than ever. Any one of them could blow up in the middle of the sky without warning. That's why we're asking all Americans to tell their families that they love them before taking off.
The agency also released a list of important questions to ask yourself or your seatmate during your flight, including, should the wing be doing that? What is that whirring noise? And do all planes shake this much? They're reminding passengers that even the smallest amount of turbulence could mean you're headed toward a sudden explosive death. While hurtling through the sky at unimaginable speeds in a steel coffin can feel like gambling with your life, the FAA says there are ways to regain the illusion of control.
If you're worried about crashing, why not switch your flight at the last second? It might just save your life. Or kill you, depending on which plane crashes.
And for those who aren't flying this holiday, the FAA has reminded everyone that a plane could fall out of the sky right on top of you at any moment.
This is the Onion News Network.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Hey, it is Free Talk Live. Of course, you can join us on the air. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And you can Skype in to join us here at Skype username LRN.FM. And we're going to get back into your phone calls and thoughts. Do want to remind you, we do have a YouTube feed. You can go and watch us live. If you're listening at 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time, you can go to cam.freetalklive.com and you'll find us there. Or just go to youtube.freetalklive.com and they'll take you right to our channel where you can look at other episodes that have happened in the past, as well as find the live one there too. So it's Ian Johnson and Mark in the studio here. Don't forget, that's cam.freetalklive.com. Let's go to Stefan. He's in Ohio and on via Skype. Go ahead, Stefan.
Hey, guys. I wanted to discuss the Philando Castile shooting.
Philando Castile. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, Philando Castile. I'm not great with that. Well, for some reason, I was thinking Fidel Castro. What the heck?
But yeah, very different.
It has a little similar feel to it. Yeah, go ahead.
What I've been confused about is the NRA has been suspiciously silent on this, despite them being in support of people carrying weapons. And I noticed a lot of gun rights. And a lot of gun rights activists have been really silent about it.
Really?
I'm sure you guys know I'm a fierce defender of gun rights. But Why isn't anyone saying, hey, somebody who was lawfully carrying was just gunned down for absolutely zero reason? People should be angry about this, but nobody's like up in flames for that reason. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think that the reason is because we don't know what precisely happened in the car, right? Like, on one hand, you have a police officer, and the NRA has a great deal of sort of police support and vice versa, and the police get a lot of support from the NRA, right? Like, they're complementary sort of organizations in many ways, and then to sort of stand against because I haven't heard that many stories where it's the police officer's word against a concealed carry permit holder out there. Like, I just can't even remember a story prior to this one where it was like this, where a concealed carry permit holder
But the officer never even claimed to have seen a gun. He was afraid that Philando was going to grab a gun, right? He thought he was going to.
I think that there's enough sort of chaff in the air about this, that people are still saying, well, we don't know whether or not he pulled a gun. Well, the answer is we do know he didn't pull a gun because the officer never said he did. He never claimed he had that he saw a weapon, only that he believed that he was going to see a weapon. And then you've got then they have to backpedal or whatever. So, the obvious statement that people sort of want to hear here is that this is racially motivated, the NRA is a bigoted organization, or blah, blah, blah. I don't know that that's the case. I'm not prepared to say that's the case. I really wish that they would come down hard on this one and say that concealed carry permit holders are extraordinarily law-abiding individuals and that this was a mistake made by an officer who, frankly, is unqualified to wear the badge. But they don't.
Wasn't there some other guy in Louisiana that had this happen to him? He was like selling movies outside of a shop, and he had a concealed carry permit, and he was gunned down.
I thought he wagged that thing around.
I was told that he had a concealed carry permit, and he wasn't reaching for anything, and the cops just kept shooting him.
You can find anything you want on the internet. I don't know. I would have to look into that one further. I recall that one not being the most open and shut case around. The Philando Castile case is, like, in my opinion, open and shut. And that's the reason I've been pounding this thing since the verdict came down. I truly expected a guilty verdict on this, and I was stunned, shocked, and enraged when we didn't get it.
If that's the case, though, if the other guy from Louisiana happened to be there, and I don't know if he was waving it around or not, but if he was just carrying, wouldn't that add to people's fodder that maybe this was racially motivated and maybe that's why the NRA is so silent on it?
The fodder for racial motivation is already out there. When you had, who was the guy in Ferguson?
Michael somebody?
Brown.
Brown.
Yeah, Michael Brown being the poster child for, whatever, the fairness, fair treatment of people regarding their ethnicity. I mean, the guy... he certainly was the powder keg that set it off, but he was by no means the perfect one. Philando Castile is a great one to sort of look at.
Well, and the fact that they're not backing him is very interesting, isn't it? And I did find, by the way, the quote from Officer Yanez. This is the man who shot Castile to death on the side of the road after having pulled him over ostensibly for having a burnout brake light, which he admits later in an interview he believed that Castile was looked similar to a suspect in a robbery.
Because he had a wide-set nose and
that's
he was
what he
black.
said. Yeah.
I believe that Castile had something like, I can't remember what the number is, 46. He was pulled over 46 times.
Lots of traffic citations.
But of those traffic citations, only 6 of them were for things that you would see from outside the vehicle. So he was getting pulled.
Pulled because he was black and
well,
young.
he was getting pulled. Yeah. I don't know what the reason is that he was getting pulled, but he was getting pulled a lot.
Well, it's pretty clear, right? Like, you
I'm
can talk
sorry.
to... Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Mark, but it is clear what the reasoning is.
Well, anybody who's black knows what it's like to drive while being black.
I've got to let listeners come to their own conclusions on this one, because I don't know what was going on in every officer's mind. But I can tell you this, I don't get pulled over like that. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it's class, the vehicle, color, garb, what it is. But I know where my mind goes when I hear this.
Speaking of where
Trevor Noah, the host of the Daily Show from South Africa, I think.
A black gentleman.
black gentleman, light-skinned black gentleman, but he said since moving to the United States, he's been pulled over 8 times.
Wow.
In like a year or something like that.
So it's worse here than in South Africa.
Well, yeah.
Even.
Yeah.
It's to the point where, the reason I think African Americans are pulled over more is, the police think they're more likely to commit crimes. Like, oh, there's a black guy in that car. I bet he's got something in that car I need to know about. They find some BS reason to pull him over, and then they claim they smell marijuana.
But everybody
it happens all the time.
that they're pulling over is likely to have committed a crime in the very recent past. So, I mean, that's a fair bet. As to why they're pulling blacks over as opposed to whites seems, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if Yanez...
Actually, Trevor Noah claims he's been stopped by cops 8 to 10 times in 6 years. That's actually,
still quite a bit.
It's not, I'm sure that there are white people that have been pulled over in that same amount of times and that amount of time, depending on how you drive.
Well, right. That's the question that I immediately was asking myself. I remember David Letterman used to get pulled over that often because he was going 95 while on 95.
Right.
That was part of the joke.
Look, I don't know if Yanez, the officer in this case, is a racist. To me, there's no way to really determine that. But it is not uncommon for, as you're pointing out, the police to target certain groups. And it's not just blacks, it's young males, it's hippies, it's, different types of people that they're going to profile and say, oh, Mark, you're not interesting because you look like a respectable businessman who's driving back from the office.
I always buy beaters, though. Yeah. I mean, Ian, when was the last time I had a new car?
You had one you had a convertible back in Sarasota, like more than a decade ago.
Yeah, but it was a 10-year-old convertible, 20-year-old convertible.
Regardless, there are certain types of people that are more likely to get pulled than others, and that's just a fact. So speaking of things going through people's minds, here's the quote from an interview with Officer Yanez, and I believe this is from one of the police interviews where he was being interviewed after the shooting. He says, quote, "I thought he had the gun in his hand, in his right hand, and I thought he had it enough to where all he had to do is just pull it out, point it at me, move his trigger finger down the trigger, and let off rounds," kind of like the cop did. "And I had no other option than to take out my firearm, and I shot," he says. So again, there he says he thought he had the gun in his hand. He thought he had it to where he was going to get shot by it, even though he didn't.
But who's going to say...
That's a different statement than, he had the gun in his hand, he was pulling it out and was going to shoot me. No, that's completely different than, I thought those things. So it was very active imagination. Go ahead.
But who's going to say, I have a gun, and then before they start shooting you? No, if he wants to shoot you, he's not going to say anything.
If he wants to shoot you, he's just going to shoot you. He's not going to say, "Officer, I have to inform you that I have a firearm."
To kill you.
Yeah. No, what he said was, "Officer, I have to inform you that I have a firearm." Which, if you're going to kill a cop, you don't go ahead and just have a chit-chat about how you have a gun.
It's unlikely that you'd use the term firearm, too.
Yeah. Right, but you have to remember that these police are, now they're being trained to be paranoid and fearful, and they're also really stupid because they keep lowering the IQ requirements to join the force. And in some departments, they actually require that you cannot be intelligent.
That's correct.
That you cannot be too smart. So they really want idiots working on this force. So when someone says, "I've got a gun," this cop is too stupid to understand that. You
might be right.
You wouldn't be told. You wouldn't be telling. Like he can't have that thought process because he's a moron.
Most departments do not have the IQ requirement.
Clearly, this one has some stupid people working for them.
Hey, thanks for the call, Stephen. Well, it's hard to find good cops because intelligent, talented people will go and get real jobs doing real work. I mean, I'm not saying that cops do bad things all the time, but man, sometimes they get it right, but a lot of times they're just hurting peaceful people, and it's not okay. More coming up here.
You have probably heard about Bitcoin and virtual currencies, but you don't really know what to do next. Maybe you feel like they have already passed you by. Nothing could be further from the truth. Bitcoin is an emergent technology still. It is still in beta and sweeping the globe. All the information you need to learn about Bitcoin is at Bitcoin.com. Go to your browser, type in Bitcoin.com, choose a wallet program, get Bitcoins, and then spend Bitcoins. Bitcoin.com, the only site you need to know for virtual currencies. Bitcoin.com.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com. Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you're helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com. Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, June 27th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.66 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,250 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 1.7 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $2,382. Antiwar.com reports Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson spoke on the phone on Monday discussing the ongoing war in Syria and the possibility of a new ceasefire being declared to allow the shift of focus in the conflict to fighting insurgent groups. Technically speaking, the ceasefire negotiated by Russia, Iran, and Turkey is still in place, though the U.S. was never formally a partner to that, and there was very limited rebel participation. The lack of involvement by the U.S. and Turkey's refusal to let the Kurds participate is a growing problem if the focus is to be on fighting against the Islamic State. That's because the U.S. and the Kurdish YPG are in the process of invading the Islamic State capital city of Raqqa, and Syrian allied forces are trying to attack the Islamic State targets further south, but every time they've gotten close, they've come under fire from U.S. warplanes. Lavrov insisted that the U.S. needs to stop its provocative actions against Syrian troops and simply let everyone cooperate against the Islamic State. The U.S. position isn't clear, though at times they've given lip service to the idea that they would welcome Syrian attacks against the Islamic State forces. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the U.S. Supreme Court announced on Monday it will review the case involving the Trump administration's temporary travel ban on people coming from 6 predominantly Muslim countries. The announcement came on the final day of the court's term before the summer break. Oral arguments in the case will be heard sometime in October. The court allowed the administration to implement part of the ban and said it would review the lower court rulings. In a 13-page opinion, the court narrowed the scope of the ban, saying it was not enforceable against those with a legitimate relationship with someone of some organization in the United States. Travelers could see the allowed restrictions within 3 days. President Donald Trump directed administration officials to implement his executive order within 72 hours after the court gives its approval. Trump issued a statement saying he viewed the Supreme Court decision as a victory. Trump's statement said, in part, "My number one responsibility as commander-in-chief is to keep the American people safe." A revised executive order issued in March by Trump limited travel from Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, and Yemen for 90 days. It also suspended U.S. refugee programs for 120 days. 2 federal appeals courts have since rejected portions of the order. The U.S. Court of Appeals in Richmond, Virginia ruled in May that the travel ban violated the First Amendment's ban on government establishment of religion. It relied on Trump's campaign statements calling for a Muslim ban. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com. Reuters reports former Arizona Sheriff Joe Arpaio, known for his hardline stand against undocumented immigrants, willfully violated a judge's order stemming from a racial profiling case, according to a federal prosecutor on Monday as a trial opened in Arpaio's contempt of court trial. A defense attorney called the case against Arpaio ridiculous and said the 85-year-old former lawman was just doing his job. Arpaio, who was ousted from office in an election last November, is charged in U.S. District Court in Phoenix with contempt of court. Prosecutors say he defied a 2011 injunction that barred his deputies from stopping and detaining motorists solely on the suspicion of being in the country illegally. During his opening remarks to the court, federal prosecutor Victor Salgado said the controversial traffic stops continued for 18 months with 170 people wrongfully detained. Arpaio faces up to 6 months in jail if convicted and has already been cited by another judge for civil contempt for the continued traffic stops in the underlying profiling case. District Court Judge Susan Bolton will render a verdict following proceedings that are expected to last about 2 weeks. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
This is The Onion Week in Review. A report released this week by the Brookings Institution found that the U.S. currently has enough chairs and that there is no urgent need to produce any new ones for the time being. Researchers confirmed through overwhelming evidence that there is absolutely no shortage of chairs, citing in their findings the sheer number of armchairs, folding chairs, bar stools, Adirondack chairs, swivel chairs, lazy boys, and rocking chairs already in existence.
Our research shows that even in a place where there seems not to be enough chairs, a quick investigation will find 1 or 2 chairs just over in the next room. Basically, as far as chairs go, I'd like to reiterate that we have a very good number of them and could just use those.
And in this week's local news, the guy in front of you is ordering for an entire construction crew. In other news, a local police department reduces costs by using the same evidence for every investigation. Voters are clamoring to hear if a female political candidate is a mother first, and a whitewater rafting trip in which a friend drowned is still pretty fun.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. You just dial on in here toll free and bring up anything you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE. Like freedom, that's 855-450-3733. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Johnson.
And Mark.
Coming up, we got the story that, Johnson, you're going to be sharing with us that is in reference sort of to the police. In this case, the toughest sheriff in America, or the so-called self-proclaimed toughest sheriff. That's Joe Arpaio. What's the latest with him? We've been kind of on and off keeping up with the developments in his career because we're not fans here on Free Talk Live. But we'll get into that coming up here. In just a few moments ago, we're talking about the Philando Castile case yet again, and had dragged out a quote from Officer Yanez, the shooter, the man who shot to death Philando Castile, the permit holder, the gun permit holder, concealed carry permit holder, who was killed on the side of the road, ostensibly in what was supposed to be a traffic stop for a burnt-out brake light. And he told the officer he had a gun, that he had a permit, and he was concealed carrying, and the officer proceeded to blast him away in front of a small child and his girlfriend. So you're certainly, as always, welcome to comment on that. But, Mark, you had a related story about a cop killing another cop, or shooting another cop. Does the other cop in your story die, or does he survive the encounter?
I'm not entirely clear on that one.
Okay, where's the story
I
from?
read it yesterday, and it doesn't. That doesn't remind me. This is from Washington Post.
Okay,
and I don't know what's related about it. You can decide what the relations are.
Cops killing people.
Okay. A friendly fire incident in which an off-duty St. Louis policeman was shot while coming to the aid of fellow officers has taken on racial overtones after an incendiary claim by the injured officer's attorney. The officer,
injured officer.
Yeah, the injured officer. Yep, the officer was viewed as a threat because he was black.
Uh-oh.
The St. Louis Police Department has not identified any of the officers involved in Wednesday night's incident. The officer who shot the off-duty policeman was white.
So this is pretty fresh news then, is what you're saying?
Yep.
Okay.
All 7 officers involved are on administrative leave as the department sorts out what happened. What is known is that officers with an anti-crime task force were tracking a car that was stolen from the Maryland Heights community after its license plate had been detected by an automatic reader. I love those things, those automatic readers. They really help with keeping all of us safe. Wednesday night, interim police chief
It's for revenue.
Yeah, that's what it's for. Yeah. Interim police chief Lawrence O'Toole told reporters during the chase the armed men inside the car opened fire. Officers fired back, hitting one of the men in the ankle during the ensuing exchange. The vehicle ultimately crashed in a neighborhood on the north side of the city, and the occupants jumped out and ran, police said. The man shot in the ankle was quickly arrested, along with a teenager who was caught after a brief chase. A third man, who police believed was armed, got away and remained at large. By the time this story was put out. An off-duty officer who lives nearby heard the commotion, grabbed his service pistol, and headed to the scene to assist his fellow officers. He arrived as the other officers were carrying out the arrest. The other officers ordered the off-duty officer to the ground, then recognized him as a fellow policeman and told him to stand up and walk toward them. As he approached, another officer arrived and shot the off-duty officer in the arm. Apparently, not recognizing him, the police told the Associated Press. The black officer is 38 years old and an 11-year veteran of the force, was treated at the hospital and released.
So it's the idea that the cop that had come on the scene sees a black man carrying a gun walking towards the other officers and just, figured.
Bang. So, in all likelihood, as I understand the story, the 3 people in the car were black, and so they've got this sort of reports on the radio. Hey, black guys shooting at officers, and then they get to the scene. There's a black guy with a gun. Bang.
Well, apparently, if you are a police officer, and especially a black police officer, you are at extreme risk if you don't have your uniform on.
Yep. Just to be clear, the officer told the investigators he feared for his safety.
The cop that shot the other guy.
Because that's what you say. You shoot and then say you feared for your safety.
That's the get out of jail free card for cops.
Yeah. So
it works. Every time, doesn't it? When has it been that a cop has been disbelieved?
It hasn't been too many times that black officers have been shot for being black by white officers.
That's true.
If that's what happened here, and again, I don't know what happened in anybody's mind.
Like you said, they're not revealing the names yet, so nobody can really do any digging.
There's a story like this last year of a black firefighter that was arrested, put on the ground, shot. Something happened to him that was sort of negative, and at some point or another, people are going to be sensing a pattern here. All I can say is that police officers in the United States of America shoot people far more often than police officers in any other industrialized country that I've been able to look at. I've looked and looked and looked and looked and looked because I don't want to believe that this is the reason, right? But it's not just color. They just shoot too much. And it apparently is because they're told, shoot first, say you felt threatened. That's what I'm guessing, because that seems to be what happens over and over.
That's right.
Or they feel threatened a lot, and they're not qualified to be officers. It's a threatening position, and you've got to be the kind of person who's cool under pressure. I don't know what else to say about this, but whose side am I supposed to take when the black officers get shot by the white officer? Whose side am I supposed to take as a good, red-blooded American? The police officer shoots the police officer. Right? One of them was getting paid to be there. The other one was just coming out to be helpful.
Yep. You should, in my opinion, take the side of the guy that got shot, because the dude that shot him did not ascertain what was going on. He just rolled right up, and from the description at least, right? He just rolled right on up and started blasting, saw a black man with a gun, and jumped to some conclusions. And the question is whether he will face any consequences for jumping to conclusions like that. It sounds like he thankfully didn't take this other man's life, but shot him in the arm or something like that. So he's injured is what the description was. And so he's fortunate that he doesn't have a dead body on his hands, and maybe he can make it up to him somehow. But, geez.
I can totally see why somebody might be upset, why somebody might be black and upset about how things are going in this country when they see story after story after story like this.
Sure.
Look, I can't tell you what the statistics are like. I can't tell you what it's like to be black. I can't tell you any of those things. But I can say that I'm seeing a lot of these stories, and the Washington Post isn't exactly known for being a liberal rag, folks. This is... I mean, there's only one side to the story because it's the cops shooting the cops.
Yeah, there's an interesting story here also about that Philando Castile NRA question. Like, why has the NRA not come out and spoken about this? In fact, that's what Michael Cohen over at the Boston Globe is asking. What the silence.
Now, there's a liberal rag for you.
Yeah, he says is deafening on this. He says that in the days since a Minnesota police officer who shot and killed Philando Castile was acquitted of manslaughter, the outcry on both social media and in the streets of the Twin Cities has been loud and angry. But it's the silence about the Castile case that might be the most deafening. That liberals and advocacy groups like Black Lives Matter are furious about the verdict is not surprising. Philando Castile is yet another black man shot down by a police officer after years of law enforcement harassment. Before his needless and tragic death, Castile had previously been pulled over by the police an astounding 49 times. It's hard to think of a more telling story about the racially biased interactions between black Americans and law enforcement than a black man being pulled over 49 times by police and on the 50th time being shot down for doing nothing wrong, and then the officer who killed him being found not guilty of the charges.
And he misses the fact that NPR reports that only six of those times was he ticketed for something that could be observed outside of the vehicle.
But why aren't conservatives up in arms? Why aren't gun owners full of indignation over a licensed gun owner being shot and killed by a police officer with no accountability and no punishment? They say that Philando Castile was, from all accounts, a model citizen. He worked in a school cafeteria where he'd memorized the names and food allergies of 500 of the students.
Wow.
More coming up here, a little bit more about Philando, your calls and thoughts. Then we'll get into America's toughest sheriff. What's going on with old Joe Arpaio? Things getting a little bit tough for him. A little hot water, perhaps, for him. We'll tell you more coming up.
Dash is digital cash, a digital currency designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime, for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is the first digital money that's governed by its users. Join Dash at Dash.org and help build a better financial system for everyone. Find out more at Dash.org.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
And membership is only $9.95.
Yep. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your get intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are 1. Share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love. But make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You just dial on in toll free and join us here. Our number 855-450-FREE. If you want, 855-450-3733. Otherwise, we can continue to talk about police corruption. And one of the kings of police corruption, Joe Arpaio, is back in the news, and Johnson has an update on what's going on with him. It's been a while since we've talked about old Sheriff Joe. We'll get the latest on what's been going on. I think he's in court, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll get into that coming up here. 855-450-FREE is our toll-free number, 855-450-3733. Dash is digital cash. It's a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. So if you want to help build a better financial system for everyone, you really ought to join Dash. It's fast, private, and easy. Fees are low and transactions are fast. It can even be confirmed instantly. You can pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime for just pennies on the dollar. Now, Dash is decentralized, and it's run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping run the Dash network. Join Dash and help create a better financial system for everyone. Take back control over your financial future today. You can find out more at Dash.org. There's a lot of momentum behind Dash right now. Go to Dash.org, and you can find out why. So we were looking into this story about, why hasn't the NRA issued a statement here? I mean, the Philando Castile case is not a new case. It's been going on for well over a year, I believe, at this point in the news. And what was just in the news is that the police officer who shot this innocent man to death on the side of the road after being pulled over for a burnout brake light, after the man, Mr. Castile, informed the officer, Officer Yanez, that he was indeed carrying a concealed weapon, which he was permitted to do, by the way, the cop shot him to death. And so the question is, why hasn't the NRA weighed in here? According to Michael Cohen at the Boston Globe, Philando Castile was, from all accounts, a model citizen. He worked in a school cafeteria where he'd memorized the names and food allergies of 500 students. And that should be enough reason for conservatives to be upset, but Castile was also a licensed and permitted gun owner. To avoid risk of being shot, he told the officer who pulled him over that he had a firearm on him, that he had a permit to carry it, and he was reaching for his license, not his weapon.
Well, yeah, he was reaching for his license immediately after being told to reach for his for license and registration.
Correct. And that hardly mattered because within moments he'd been mortally wounded. Quite simply, Philando Castile is dead today because he was exercising his constitutionally protected right to bear arms.
If you watch the video, though, what this cop just wanted to shoot this guy because, he says, "Don't pull it out" to his gun, and Castile responds,
"I'm not pulling it, or not reaching.
I'm not taking my gun out. I'm getting my license," or something.
I disagree with the assessment. So I don't believe this. I believe this officer is unqualified to be an officer.
Well, right, because he's a blithering idiot.
You're saying he was too incompetent to want to kill him, that he just was a
This guy
dummy?
was weeping, standing there shaking with his gun in his hand,
shouting
holding
and
it on
screaming.
this woman after she just shot her boyfriend right there dead in front of her kid. Right, like I told him not to go for it. I told him not to go for it.
Yes,
and
yeah.
she's like,
he was justifying it.
officer, she's taking video, right? She's Facebook Live in this, and she's saying, "Officer, he told you he wasn't going for it. He informed you that he's concealed carry permit holder. You just shot him dead." Like she just lays it out for him. She's cool
as a cucumber. For sure.
She's got ice water in her veins, and this guy's coming unglued. Why is he coming unglued? Because he wasn't qualified to go up to somebody's window in the first place.
Yet the National Rifle Association, an organization that's nominally devoted to protecting the constitutional right of Americans to arm themselves to the teeth, has said nothing about the acquittal in the Castile case. Last July, when the shooting occurred, the NRA put out a statement that tepidly read, quote, "The reports from Minnesota are troubling and must be thoroughly investigated," unquote. An organization that used the shooting of 20 kindergartners in Newtown, Connecticut to call for armed guards to be stationed in the nation's schools said that they couldn't comment on an ongoing investigation. Some would argue the NRA is loath to alienate police officers who are a critically important constituency of the organization.
I tend to think
that's what this is.
Plays a big role.
But after the massacre of 5 Dallas police officers last summer, the NRA was hardly reticent in defending the, quote, right of law-abiding Americans to carry firearms for the defense of themselves and others, unquote.
Yeah, it seems like they were ready to comment on that case before it reached its conclusion, and now it has reached its conclusion. What do we think about that, NRA?
The Boston Globe's author continues, speculating that the real reason for the NRA's silence on Castile probably has more to do with the color of the victim's skin. As Shannon Watts of the pro-gun control group Moms Demand Action, it's a terrible group, by the way, they've tried to put forth their nonsense here in New Hampshire and thank goodness have not succeeded, pointed out in their tweet storm this weekend, such reticence from the NRA when black Americans are killed is nothing new. When Tamir Rice, remember this one, the 12-year-old who was carrying like a BB gun or some sort of toy gun, was shot by police to death in Cleveland. And when John Crawford, remember that one? That was when he was in a park and somebody had called the cops on him because he had a gun. The cops just rolled up and shot him.
It was really about that quick.
There's an interesting article from today that I could share here on this. The title is Geronimo Yanez. A previous arrest offers insight into the beleaguered officer's mind.
Can we talk about that coming up here? Let me finish this here. The real reason they say here, okay, so Tamir Rice, we got that story. Then when John Crawford III was shot in an Ohio Walmart while carrying a toy gun, shot to death.
Right, this is the guy basically looking at airsoft guns in Walmart.
Yep.
Right?
Never threatened anybody. Never did anything to deserve.
Well, there are
being
accusations that he pointed the gun, the airsoft gun, at the direction of people. But I mean, I haven't seen it. I've seen nothing other than allegations.
Mm-hmm. Well, in theory, there should be video of that. I mean, there was surveillance video in the store.
That would be an important part of that case, yeah.
So anyway, John Crawford was shot in that Walmart. The NRA didn't issue a statement defending the state's open carry laws, which theoretically should have protected both men. Yet when Trayvon Martin was killed in Florida, the NRA defended stand your ground laws, but failed to note, as the organization often does, that had Martin been armed, he could have protected himself. When a South Carolina police officer shot a 26-year-old black man who was defending his home from intruders, the NRA said nothing. The NRA promotes gun ownership with the dubious claim that a gun will protect Americans, their families, and their homes from criminals. And I think that it does. So, I mean, that's the author's opinion that it's dubious. I think there's plenty of examples of people who have successfully protected their homes with guns, including, children in homes getting a gun and protecting their families. Those things have happened. But going on here, it says, considering the organization's silence when it comes to the deaths of black gun owners, one might easily conclude they don't mean criminals of all races, that they mean black criminals. The simple fact is that the NRA's core support and opposition to gun control laws in general comes from white rural Americans. Those Americans, many of whom also voted for Donald Trump, tend to have a fearful, conspiratorial, and racially tinged view of the world. Now, that's true of the liberals as well. Let's be clear. There's plenty of liberals out there that have a fearful, conspiratorial, and racially tinged view of the world as well. So, obviously this article has its particular political viewpoint, but they do make some good points.
I'm interested in the facts in this article. This author's opinions stink. But it's the facts of the article that interest me.
All right, so coming up here, Johnson, you had a related story. And
two.
Yeah, and you can share that with us, and you can share your thoughts with us at 855-450-FREE. More on the Philando Castile case. Officer Geronimo Yanez will get into a different stop. You've got details on a previous stop of his. And what can we learn from that? We'll find out coming up on Free Talk Live.
You've heard the phrase, you are what you eat? Not true. Actually, you are what you can absorb. So if the vitamins and supplements you now take are not being absorbed, what good are they? Introducing Protovite, proprietary liquid system that allows premium quality nutrients to positively affect the blood in an astonishing 5 minutes. Watch our amazing 2-minute live blood cell video at TrueHealthFacts.com. That's TrueHealthFacts.com. Then call 502-410-3411. Protovite is nutrition you can feel. Protovite is nutrition that gets in.
Fully cooked, ready-to-eat bacon. I'm talking thick, meaty, center-cut presidential bacon. Savory and delicious. I buy some, I use some, I store some. Awesome. No refrigeration needed with a 10-year shelf life. NASA pack technology. Bacon. Fully cooked, fully hydrated, ready to eat right from the packed bacon or warm and served. Life-saving, ready-to-eat bacon. 10-year shelf life bacon. Ships free at fullycookedbacon.com. Fullycookedbacon.com.
Hi, I'm Montel Williams. Most of you know me as a talk show host, but I'm also an author, actor, single father of 4, a fitness writer, avid snowboarder, and I'm also a medical marijuana patient. Like many of the million people who are living with multiple sclerosis, I'm in pain every single day. And sometimes my nerves are so raw that if you brushed up against me in an elevator, I'd scream. I can't sleep at night from the pain, and sometimes the spasms in my legs are so intense they will wake me up throughout the night. I've tried the strongest prescription medications available, and I'm going to tell you, they do not work. In fact, they leave me in a stupor, and most of the time, it's impossible to even live your life. Now, I've tried medical marijuana, and I'm going to tell you something, it works. If you'd like more information about medical marijuana, you can contact the Marijuana Policy Project at mpp.org or call 1-877-JOIN-MPP.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at shiresociety.com. That's shiresociety.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You dial toll free and join us right here. If you want, you can bring up anything at 855-450-FREE, like freedom. 855-450-3733. We're going to get into another bad cop, Joe Arpaio, the so-called America's toughest sheriff. Johnson's got that story. But first, we're digging a little bit deeper into Philando Castile's death, specifically at the hands of Officer Geronimo Yanez, who is no longer an officer for now.
Good.
He was relieved of his duties, and I'm guessing they're not going to rehire him, considering they just settled for $3 million with Philando's mother.
To. You know, you know how these
True,
the unions and you know, once, I mean, these unions are incredibly powerful. Unions tend to only be powerful when it comes to public sector workers because, well, there's really no boss. There's no employer. The employer is the taxpayer, and there's really no one who's less powerful than a taxpayer. I mean, these are people that are being extorted for their money already. What kind of power could they possibly have?
So we're going to tell you a little bit more about that. Of course, you're welcome to join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. And we do have Skype as well. Our Skype username is lrn.fm. If you want to help support Free Talk Live, then please get your shopping done over at shop.freetalklive.com. You go to shop.freetalklive.com, and there's links there to Amazon, US, UK, and Canada. You just click into the right Amazon for you, get your shopping taken care of, and Free Talk Live benefits because we get a portion of your purchase price when you start your shopping through shop.freetalklive.com. Johnson, you found a story about Officer Yanez, the man who killed Philando Castile, shot him to death multiple times in front of a little child and his girlfriend on the side of the road. And somebody did a little digging. They found a previous incident of Officer Yanez's. Where'd you get the story from?
That's correct. So the story is actually coming from, actually, what is this source here? It is citypages.com.
Okay. That's a website where they've got a pretty detailed forum. So if I'm recalling the City Pages correctly, or maybe it's City Data. Is this a forum post or
I think you're thinking of City Data. This
I'm
is
thinking
sort of
City
like
Data.
more like a news type of organization.
Got it.
Anyway, the story goes, the day former St. Anthony officer Geronimo Yanez was acquitted in the death of Philando Castile, musician Maida Miller revealed that the same officer had pointed a gun at her 27-year-old brother in the same area in a similar situation not long before he shot Castile.
City Pages, by the way, is a Minneapolis-focused website, so this is a local site.
The subsequent police report provides some insight into the beleaguered ex-officer's mindset and the stress he felt in his last year on the job. On the night of November 6, 2015, 8 months to the day of Castile's daily traffic stop, James Miller was driving home from a party in St. Paul to his home in St. Anthony Park, where he passed Yanez on Highway 280. It was about 9 p.m. and Yanez was parked on the side of the freeway, having just pulled over another driver. James passed close enough to Yanez that the officer felt a strong gust of wind. Yeah, on the side of a highway, you think? Anyway, according to the police report, the vehicle almost killed me, Yanez wrote. I screamed because I had no place to move as the vehicle screamed by me. I thought I was going to die.
Well, okay, so first off, let's point out that
he's a thinker, that Yanez.
This is the reality that police officers deal with every day, right? Like they're on the side of the road. Some
do get hit.
In some states, you're supposed to get over, but that only makes the road more deadly because people are merging because they have to get over because somebody's got their gumballs sitting on the side of the road, flashing all over the place. Emergency lights are intended to distract people. That's their job, to grab attention. And then, police officers get knocked into ditches all over America. That's why traffic stops should be important. A traffic stop should be important enough that you're willing to have a government employee's life put on the line, because this is a deadly activity.
It's risky.
That's why it should not be for frivolous things. That's why Philando Castile being pulled over 49 times in the last 10 years or whatever the number was shows that there's a lot of frivolous activity going on as far as these pullovers. If somebody's
revenue generation.
Yeah, if somebody's going 9, 10, 11, 12 miles an hour over the speed limit and they're not driving recklessly or carelessly or whatever terminology one wishes to use, then maybe it's not worth pulling them over because it's not worth having a police officer die.
Yep. So, again, Yanez thought he was going to die, because a vehicle drove by him while he was on the side of the highway.
He said he was scared.
Yanez ran back to his squad and gave pursuit. Lights activated. James failed to pull over, but continued on, swerving in his lane, according to the report. I then observed the driver reaching down towards the center console.
I love the swerving in the lane.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is how ridiculous.
Suggesting he's drunk or out of control.
Well, yeah,
but it's in his lane.
Right. This is how
He didn't depart
ridiculous
his lane.
driving in America has gotten. They can now get you for staying within your lane.
Yeah. I then observed the driver reaching down towards the center console and the floorboards of the car. Yanez wrote, I believed that he was reaching for a weapon and was in fear for my life again. This is not again, again, because he had been passed on the side of the highway. James finally came to a stop on a residential street. Yanez wrote that he unholstered his gun and pointed it at the driver, ordering him to stay in the car with his hands up. He was arrested without incident, but police only found a 5-inch pocket knife on him. I left the area.
He was probably going to stab this officer with his 5-inch pocket knife, right?
Yeah. What did he arrest him for? Driving recklessly?
I guess. I left the area to recuperate, Yanez wrote. I was upset, mad, and terrified that I was almost hit by a vehicle traveling at 60 to 70 miles per hour. My body would have been mutilated if Miller would have hit me with his vehicle. A sergeant arrived and volunteered to take custody over James so that Yanez could take some time to relax.
I mean, this
guy sounds like he's bucking for a paid leave to me.
Look, he sounds like a wussy.
Yeah. James was charged. James Miller was charged with a 3rd-degree DWI. He had no prior history of drunk driving, though. Marta says her brother James has his license back now and works as a cook. To avoid jail time, he paid a fine and took classes. He's currently on probation.
It seems to me like if you are going to take a job as a cop, then you have to understand that you're going to be on the side of some roads and that there's a good chance that you might get hit or you're going to have some close calls. And the idea that I think he said he screamed.
You're not supposed to have. They're not supposed to have close calls. You know why? They're supposed to position their vehicles behind the car and in further into the highway so that if something were to happen, if somebody were to come closer to the side of the road, they would hit their car.
Which might then slam into them. I mean, I don't know if that's going to help.
Not if the parking brake is deployed the way it's supposed to be. I mean, it might move forward somewhat, but it shouldn't. Well,
a semi-truck slamming into a
semi-truck, but not a normal vehicle.
Yeah.
I mean, not a normal vehicle.
I get what you're saying there.
Yeah.
Well, look, there's work that needs to be done on the side of the road. I do it on a regular basis as a firefighter. I haven't been in a situation where it's like, whee! Oh, they almost got me. You got to pay attention when you're out there.
Right.
And look, another thing has happened as far as police go. I've attempted to, being pulled over, attempted to find a place to pull over that was sort of safe.
Oh, yeah, they don't like that.
They want you to pull over right there on the side of the road.
Right.
In some cases,
block a whole lane.
It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. It's just an authoritarian obedience thing. They want you to pull over right then. And if you try to take your time to find a parking lot or side street or something like that, man,
it could help if you're going to do that to deploy your emergency lights or deploy your.
I've done that.
Turn signal.
I turn my lights on, turn them off to signal that I understand what's going on. Put my flashers on and I continue riding to find someplace good to pull over. I get a whoop whoop. And then the flashes, the flashing lights in the back.
Oh, mine, once in Florida, a cop came right up on me like I was going slow, and he just tailgated me as close as he possibly could, just and doing the flashing lights and everything, and just being as intimidating as he possibly could from behind me in the cruiser.
It's when you come up to your window, you ask him, "Are you okay, officer? Have you been drinking?"
Yeah, that'll go well.
855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. More about Yanez coming up. You can share your thoughts. Free Talk Live.
Bitcoin.com is the most unique online destination in the Bitcoin universe. Buying Bitcoin? Do it here. Want to speak your mind to other Bitcoin users? Our forum is always open and censorship free at forum.bitcoin.com. There's no bigger Bitcoin believers than the Bitcoin.com team. That's why this site is a one-stop shop for everything you need to get into Bitcoin life. You can also play games at games.bitcoin.com. Learn more at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. SaveItPurse.com.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business. So make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu 641-793-9660. Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You dial on in here toll free if you want to join us on the radio waves. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype and the Skype username is LRN.FM. We've been talking about Geronimo Yanez, who is the officer who shot to death one Philando Castile, who is a young gentleman that was, normal person, just had a job, and didn't really have any significant criminal record besides traffic violations, of which the cops have been targeting him very heavily, apparently. He ended up being shot to death by Officer Geronimo Yanez. And Johnson, you found an interesting story over at citypages.com, which is a Minneapolis area website, the news and opinion site. And they did a little digging on Officer Yanez, finding another previous incident where Yanez got a little frightened on the side of the road by somebody who ostensibly passed too close to him. Now, we don't really know how close the passing was. That's not made clear. There's no video of this incident. So you have to go with what Officer Yanez had to say about how close it was. And he claimed that he felt a strong gust of wind and that he screamed as a result of that. I mean, I'm just trying to imagine a, fully grown police officer standing by the side of the road screaming as a car passes by him. I mean, cars pass by you all the time when you're doing pullovers. It's a risky endeavor. That this guy, his reaction, even if it was particularly close, you would think that, a more standard, I'm used to this kind of reaction would be, whew, that was a close one. But to scream as a result of having been passed closely, that just seems like he seems like a mama's boy to me.
I just remember being on my bicycle, 12, 13, 14 years old, riding around Bradenton, Florida, and how often cars would go by me.
Close.
And you would feel the gust of wind.
Sure.
And there's times when it was like a truck or something and you'd kind of look up or whatever. I just don't... was I braver as a 14-year-old on a bicycle than this officer?
You definitely don't want an officer that might pass out from the vapors. My stars!
Oh, my. So he, believed he was almost killed. He said, I had no place to move as the vehicle screamed by me. I thought I was going to die. Then as he...
I thought I was going to die.
Right. Then he gets back in the squad car. After the man who was driving that he was chasing allegedly failed to pull over while supposedly swerving in his lane, he says, I then observed the driver reaching down toward the center console and floorboards of the car. I believed he was reaching for a weapon.
I mean, that might be where somebody would keep their registration. I mean,
or he's throwing his drugs or whatever.
The registration has to be somewhere.
And I was in fear for my life again. I mean, it just seems like this guy is constantly scared.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree with you, Mark. Your assessment here that this dude should never have been in any kind of situation in which he has to deal with unknown members of the public, because apparently they were all a threat to him. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Let's go to Ralph. He's in... You're not in Minnesota. Oh, he wants to talk about Minnesota. Ralph in New Jersey. Go ahead.
I always like to believe that black criminality is driven by, El Negro and Ivan.
This is not a criminal, sir. Are you calling on the topic that we're discussing?
I don't. Yes, that's exactly what I had in mind.
Philando Castile is not a criminal.
The Minnesota case. Okay. But nevertheless,
Philando Castile was the victim here. He wasn't a criminal.
Justice was served here, nevertheless.
Huh?
Right? The cop is no longer, the cop is discharged. The cop is terminated from service.
The cop was terminated, but he wasn't found guilty.
Do you think you or I, if we would have shot somebody who was not going for a weapon, would have just been fired from our jobs? Or do you think we would have been found guilty of manslaughter and put in prison?
What about the fact that this
case
reminds me of the Peter Liang case in New York? Okay, he was scared of his life too. The Peter Liang.
I don't know what you're
I'm
saying.
sorry, I haven't looked up. Okay, well, I can Google search it real quick.
Peter Liang.
Okay,
Peter Liang.
Okay,
Peter.
Peter
Liang.
Liang.
Right now, Yes.
L-I what?
Liang.
Okay.
That wasn't a black-white situation. Why did they make this into a black-white situation when in fact it was not? That's the big lie that came out of this sort of case.
I don't know if it's a black-white situation, and I've tried not to talk about it as a black-white situation.
No.
But what I see here is a man who has been pulled over 49 times. And I'm not going to claim to be white, but I am going to claim that I don't look black. And that kind of crap happened to me, I'd be outraged. I'd be at City Hall demanding some badges.
But I still maintain that black criminality has to do with the war on bullies by the animal Obama.
The war on bullies?
What does black criminality have to do with Philando Castile?
If you see, you need to look at it in that light.
But what light? So, like, it's okay.
You're not making any sense.
It's okay
Ralph.
to shoot black people because they're black?
Women should look like they are victims all the time.
But wait. Look, man, Philando Castile is a dude. It doesn't matter. He's not part of the great black establishment that's attempting to work with Barack Obama to undermine Filipino-United States relationships. That's ridiculous. He was a cafeteria worker attempting to feed his family. A cafeteria worker.
Is that what he was?
Yes. He had a job. As crazy as that sounds. He had a concealed carry permit. He went through the background checks to be able to carry a gun. Concealed carry permit holders, as much as this may be difficult for you to believe. Go ahead.
Why would this man tell the cop? Why would this man tell the cop, I have a gun?
Because he did. In some states, it's legal. You legally have to.
In a lot of states, it's the law. And so if you're if you don't know across the board what all the rules are everywhere, and you want to be as safe as you can, that's probably something that you could do. I'm not going to make that recommendation because obviously it can lead to you getting shot to death. But I understand why somebody would do it.
Thank you. I would not. Thank you for saying that. Why guilty? I would not make that recommendation. Okay.
But in some places you get arrested.
I'm going to go on the record as saying I have no guilt at all for my particular race if I've got a race at all. Yeah. I'm not white guilty. Screw you, you old crazy bastard. Now, let me just go on the record as further saying the evidence in this case shows that not only the officer, but that many officers in the city of Minneapolis target blacks. And I don't know why.
But the fact of the matter is the video was not the entirety of that case. There was the police side that we have to. The video was not the entirety. The whole entire case was not based upon that video that you saw. Okay?
Yeah, the case was based on the cop claiming he was terrified.
And that was the case with Peter Liang as well. He went against departmental rules, discharging his gun in a dark stairwell. That was the case of Peter Liang.
But but he got no prison time.
Let me tell you about the Peter Liang case.
I'm looking at it right here. No prison time for ex-NYPD officer Peter Liang in fatal shooting of.
So this guy blasted somebody when he shouldn't have.
Yours truly was involved in the protest, to bring about justice for Peter Liang, because we truly believe, as a nation person.
Is Liang the cop or the cop? Okay.
That was a miscarriage of justice. Okay.
So wait, you think that cop should have been found guilty? The Liang cop?
It should have been. It should have been a mistrial, in my opinion. He should not have been brought on charges of manslaughter.
So you don't think he should have been facing anything? Well, he was found not guilty. So shouldn't you be happy about that?
Okay.
Am I right, Mark? This Liang.
No, Peter Liang was convicted actually.
Oh, he was convicted but didn't get any prison time.
But didn't get any jail time. Well, again, because of community pressure.
Did he shoot an innocent man? Who did he shoot to death?
I don't care what Peter Liang did. This is what you do when you derail a conversation, Ralph. The fact is, you called in about Philando Castile. I know something about that case. You talked about a case that I don't know that much about. I just have cursory information, and you're acting like this represents everything.
He can't say anything about Castile because Castile's unassailable.
That's because it's an ironclad case, and if you're on the side of the cop here, I've really got to question your motives.
Thanks for the call, Ralph. Toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. You can take control of the airwaves here. Hour number 3 is on the way. We got Joe Arpaio. The update on him coming up.
So when we brought him home, we didn't realize that Bear, the rescue dog, was actually sick. He had very flaky skin. He was dropping a lot of fur. The vet wanted to do steroid injections, special dog food. Nothing seemed to work. So I've been hearing Dinovite on the radio for years.
Petey stopped eating. All his hair fell out.
Itching, licking, missing fur.
DINOVITE.com. 859-428-1000.
And then it finally sunk in. Oh, you're talking about hair and skin. And all right, I'll try it. Well, it took probably 6 weeks, but after we started using Dinovite, no more flaky skin. He doesn't scratch and itch, and he started to put weight on. It was awesome.
Dinovite is nutrition.
Every rescue dog in America deserves Dinovite for 90 days. I wish that we would have started the Dinovite right away. It would have been so much easier.
859-428-1000. DINOVITE.com.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are 1. Share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, June 27th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.66 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,250 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 1.7 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $2,382. Antiwar.com reports Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson spoke on the phone on Monday discussing the ongoing war in Syria and the possibility of a new ceasefire being declared to allow the shift of focus in the conflict to fighting insurgent groups. Technically speaking, the ceasefire negotiated by Russia, Iran, and Turkey is still in place, though the U.S. was never formally a partner to that, and there was very limited rebel participation. The lack of involvement by the U.S. and Turkey's refusal to let the Kurds participate is a growing problem if the focus is to be on fighting against the Islamic State. That's because the U.S. and the Kurdish YPG are in the process of invading the Islamic State capital city of Raqqa, and Syrian allied forces are trying to attack the Islamic State targets further south, but every time they've gotten close, they've come under fire from U.S. warplanes. Lavrov insisted that the U.S. needs to stop its provocative actions against Syrian troops and simply let everyone cooperate against the Islamic State. The U.S. position isn't clear, though at times they've given lip service to the idea that they would welcome Syrian attacks against the Islamic State forces. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the U.S. Supreme Court announced on Monday it will review the case involving the Trump administration's temporary travel ban on people coming from 6 predominantly Muslim countries. The announcement came on the final day of the court's term before the summer break. Oral arguments in the case will be heard sometime in October. The court allowed the administration to implement part of the ban and said it would review the lower court rulings. In a 13-page opinion, the court narrowed the scope of the ban, saying it was not enforceable against those with a legitimate relationship with someone of some organization in the United States. Travelers could see the allowed restrictions within 3 days. President Donald Trump directed administration officials to implement his executive order within 72 hours after the court gives its approval. Trump issued a statement saying he viewed the Supreme Court decision as a victory. Trump's statement said, in part, "My number one responsibility as commander-in-chief is to keep the American people safe." A revised executive order issued in March by Trump limited travel from Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, and Yemen for 90 days. It also suspended U.S. refugee programs for 120 days. 2 federal appeals courts have since rejected portions of the order. The U.S. Court of Appeals in Richmond, Virginia, ruled in May that the travel ban violated the First Amendment's ban on government establishment of religion. It relied on Trump's campaign statements calling for a Muslim ban. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com. Reuters reports former Arizona Sheriff Joe Arpaio, known for his hardline stand against undocumented immigrants, willfully violated a judge's order stemming from a racial profiling case, according to a federal prosecutor on Monday as a trial opened in Arpaio's contempt of court trial. A defense attorney called the case against Arpaio ridiculous and said the 85-year-old former lawman was just doing his job. Arpaio, who was ousted from office in an election last November, is charged in U.S. District Court in Phoenix with contempt of court. Prosecutors say he defied a 2011 injunction that barred his deputies from stopping and detaining motorists solely on the suspicion of being in the country illegally. During his opening remarks to the court, federal prosecutor Victor Salgado said the controversial traffic stops continued for 18 months, with 170 people wrongfully detained. Arpaio faces up to 6 months in jail if convicted, and has already been cited by another judge for civil contempt for the continued traffic stops in the underlying profiling case. District Court Judge Susan Bolton will render a verdict following proceedings that are expected to last about 2 weeks. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Officials for the Centers for Disease Contraction and Preservation held a press conference urging all Americans to suck on as many doorknobs as possible.
This flu season, the Center for Disease Contraction is recommending that all Americans, regardless of age or health condition, find a doorknob in a high-traffic area, wrap their mouths around it, and vigorously lick and suck it until they contract an illness. We recommend sucking doorknobs covered in a visible film of human hand grease. But the fact is, sucking on any doorknob can increase the likelihood of exposing yourself and your family to deadly pathogens by as much as 450%.
An instructional video released on the CDC's website showcases the proper method for sucking doorknobs, while also providing tips for projecting all sneezes and coughs outward, sharing used Kleenexes and toilet paper with as many people as possible, eating 3 meals a day from local garbage cans, and dozens of other easy bacteria-spreading activities.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, and you can dial in toll-free. Join us on the radio. Our number here, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Johnson.
And Mark.
For those of you just tuning in, we've talked once again about the Philando Castile case, where Officer Yanez in Minneapolis had shot a man to death, or Minnesota, I think it was, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, that shot a man to death, Philando Castile, on the side of the road after pulling him over ostensibly for a burnout brake light. But the officer admitted privately, he didn't tell Mr. Castile this, but he admitted privately that he pulled him over because he believed that he matched the description of a robbery suspect. which, again, is a likely story because they love to just pull people over with that excuse in their minds when it's really just a fishing expedition. It was a young black gentleman riding with his girlfriend, and they figured maybe there'd be a marijuana scent coming out of the car or something else. They'd see a joint in the ashtray or a beer bottle on the floor. It's just plain old
I want to know what
work.
they mean when they say suspected robbery suspect, right? Do you mean that it was a young black man? I mean, do we need to check every young black man?
A wide nose, he said.
Right, he mentioned a wide nose. And, I mean, he didn't even go so far as mentioning the color of the car.
Mm-hmm.
Right? All you have to say is a black man with a wide nose. That's kind of part of the definition of black man. And I find that to be the flimsiest of reasons.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
But it's an excuse. It's an excuse that they use really, pretty common.
Right now in this county, you can believe that there is somebody suspected of a crime that has been described as a middle-aged white guy
man
with brown hair and with graying sides.
But have you ever been pulled over and been told that?
Not once.
Yeah.
And that's why this stuff just seems flimsy to me.
Sure.
Sure you're going to have crimes. They're going to have been committed by somebody. And yes, some of those somebodies are going to have been black. In all likelihood, it's a larger percentage of crimes, usually reported crimes, of people that are black. But that does not affect this gentleman here. Philando Castile was a law-abiding citizen, shot down by an officer who clearly was unqualified to be on the job.
So, Johnson, you had shared some more about that, the cop, that case, Mr. Yanez. But Yanez, even though he's got other incidents in his past that have related, as we found out in the last hour, and if you missed that hour, you can always go and grab Free Talk Live over at freetalklive.com. The archives will be up later on tonight. The sheriff, on the other hand, has the opportunity to touch a whole lot more lives in a whole lot more damaging manner altogether. I mean, one cop can certainly hurt peaceful people, but they can only do as much as one man can. The sheriff, on the other hand, can set the policy. The sheriff can make decisions as to who should be targeted, to target more of a certain type of person than another. The sheriff can implement policies that are even more damaging because most of his officers will blindly obey it, as we were discussing earlier. A lot of departments in the United States have rules saying that you pretty much have to be a nincompoop and able to be in order to be hired at the department. You can't be too smart in some departments. I believe New Haven, Connecticut was notorious for this particular departmental policy where if you had over 100 IQ or something like that, you weren't allowed to actually work there. So, Johnson, you've got an update on Joe Arpaio, the so-called toughest sheriff in America.
Right.
Who was in charge of the Phoenix, Arizona sheriff's...
24 years.
Yeah, Maricopa County, I guess.
24 years, Joe Arpaio was a tough-talking sheriff in Arizona, famous for cracking down on illegal immigration.
And drug dealers and prostitutes and putting them all in a terrible camp that was like an outdoor jail that, he would put the prisoners out there in like pink pajamas or something like that and then
all
feed them just
bologna,
gruel.
Yeah,
just
bologna sandwiches.
Yeah, rotting bologna.
I guess what he's famous for in conservative circles is about a decade ago, Arpaio, who's been dubbed America's toughest sheriff.
I think he dubbed himself that.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, he started instructing his deputies to make traffic stops and detain any unauthorized immigrants they encountered. Then they'd turn the immigrants over to federal agents for deportation. He was voted out of his Maricopa County office in November.
Really?
But now faces his own legal troubles. A criminal trial begins Monday in which he is accused of ignoring a federal judge's order to curtail his crackdown. Many in the Latino community are happy to see the tables turned on him.
I'm surprised he lost the election. I mean,
can you imagine if he actually gets convicted of something and ends up in one of his
very own prison? Well, they'll segregate him.
There was a story
they would have to
a few years ago where a sheriff ended up in the jail that was named after him.
Was that the one that was like slinging methamphetamine?
I believe it was. Yeah, and, like
Colorado
boy prostitutes and the whole deal.
Yeah.
Well, many in the Latino community are happy to see the tables turned on him. These immigration raids tore our neighborhood apart, says Lydia Guzman, an activist who helped sue Arpaio over these tactics. I see different families with kids. I see, people enjoying themselves, she said at a crowded Mexican restaurant not far away from where many of Arpaio's operations took place. This is what it should have been all along, not people living in fear and trying to hide.
Mm-hmm.
In 2011, a federal judge told Arpaio that he could not detain immigrants just because they lacked legal status, since that job is primarily for federal agents. Yet, for about 18 months, Arpaio's deputies violated the order. They kept arresting unauthorized immigrants and dropping them off with Border Patrol. When the judge found out years later, he found Arpaio in civil contempt of court. Then, last fall, under President Obama, the Justice Department decided to criminally prosecute Arpaio for disobeying the judge.
Wow.
The charge against Arpaio is criminal contempt of court, a misdemeanor.
I wonder who he crossed, Like he was in it to win it for a long time.
This seems like something that would just be left unmentioned for pretty much any other sheriff.
Yeah, I mean, this guy was the winner of so many elections. I mean, he was so popular for so long, despite the horrifying statements about his jail facilities and other, crazy. Remember the story where he actually had his sheriffs raid the city's offices? Like, he was even going up against
that's the sort of thing there.
The people within the bureaucracy. I mean, this guy could get away with anything for the longest time. And, he's pounding his chest about how tough a sheriff he is and, proving it by spending as low of a dollar amount as he could possibly spend to feed people in the jail, bragging about the low quality of the food and the low cost, bragging at spending 11 cents or something like that on a lunch for the prisoners.
It's also fair to mention that one is considered in this country to be innocent until proven guilty.
Mm-hmm.
The vast majority of people in his jail would have been pretrial, therefore to be considered innocent. People like that should not be treated as lowest of the low. Now, I'm speaking as somebody who has been convicted of a crime. I understand why people are all like, law and order, justice. We can have that conversation about how treating bad people badly, putting them in a place full of bad people and treating them badly turns out pretty badly.
Well, I don't know if he was putting the pretrial people in Tent City. That may have been just for the convicts, so I don't want to jump to that conclusion.
I thought okay.
But regardless, there were some pretty horrible things that happened to the people that were in Tent City. And even if you're in Tent City, even if you were convicted of something, doesn't mean you were convicted of something violent, and nor does it mean that you should be dying from thirst, which is something that happened. If I'm recalling, was it a pregnant woman at one point that couldn't get access to water? There's been so many stories about this guy over the years, and just the attitude that he has is something that really turned a lot of conservatives on, because he's tough on crime. The American
scumbag conservatives.
But any evidence that being tough on crime is successful, I'd love to hear about.
Yeah, it doesn't work, does it?
Well, there's pluses and minuses to it from what I've seen, but
there's still crime in the Philippines.
There are lots of countries with a lot lower crime that treat their convicts completely differently than they do in the U.S.
But now the tables have turned on Arpaio. He's in court now on contempt of court charges, and so that's why I say, who did this guy cross? What did he do to deserve the Justice Department that was presumably teamed up with him for so long to turn against him?
One of Arpaio's lawyers, Jack Wilenchik, called the timing of the prosecution problematic.
Let's get into it here a little bit more about what's the latest on Joe Arpaio. We'll share that with you coming up, and you can share your thoughts toll free at 855-450 free like freedom. This is Free Talk Live.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Dash is set up to succeed where other platforms have failed. Give it a try at Dash.org. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at Dash.org.
I've discovered the next big thing on the internet. Symbi.com is a symbiotic economy with its own currency where people trade services virtually and locally. Forget the old economy. This is your economy. Symbi.com is slick to use and is backed by the same people that helped launch Reddit and Airbnb. I'm not kidding when I say this is the next big thing. Trust me. Go get an account at Symbi.com. Take a look around and post your services. Symbi, SIMBI.com.
Have you racked up more than $10,000 in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by, making minimum payments? You should know the credit card companies are tricking you into thinking there's no way out. Credit card companies would rather you didn't know that there are ways you can become debt-free and you don't have to pay the entire amount you owe. There are debt relief programs that help people like you escape overwhelming credit card debt. National Debt Relief has helped tens of thousands of people just like you reduce more than $500 million of debt. National Debt Relief has helped so many people they're A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. You don't have to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan. You have the right to settle your debt for a mere fraction of what you owe. Reduce a large portion of your debt now. Call National Debt Relief at 800-314-7417. 800-314-7417. That's 800-314-7417.
The easiest thing in the world for a reader to do is to stop reading, according to the late, great Barney Kilgore, who became managing editor of the Wall Street Journal in 1941 and grew the paper's circulation from 33,000 to 1 million by the 60s. And he'd be pleased to know that his paper is one of the few that people now pay to read online. Someone else pre-internet who realized that attention is fragile? Motown Records founder Berry Gordy. In the early 60s, when his label dominated the charts, he'd bring a dozen real people into the Hitsville, USA studios and audition songs. And he'd ask, if you were down to your last dollar, would you spend it on this record or would you buy a sandwich? Today, attention span seems like an oxymoron. For tips on cutting through the clutter, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. You may join us right here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. You want to comment on America's toughest sheriff in his showdown with a judge, a federal judge that is coming at him for contempt of court. Turns out old Joe Arpaio thought he was above the law, and for the most part he was for about 24 years. But the tables have turned, the tides have turned against him. And he's now facing criminal contempt of court charges, it sounds like here. We'll share more with you. You can share your thoughts with us, 855-450-FREE like freedom. And I do want to let you know about my pillow. It's a great pillow. I look forward to it.
Minnesota.
Oh, it's from Minnesota. You're right. You're right. Good point. But this is one of the good things that came out of Minnesota, and it is a great pillow. I look forward to laying down on it every night because it really works. It's designed to fit to the shape of your body and hold your neck in the proper position. and I've been using it now for over a year. Mark, you also have the MyPillow.
Love it.
And unlike a regular pillow, you can wash MyPillow. You can put it in the washer and the dryer. It's designed for that, and it works well. In fact, it's backed with a 10-year warranty. And if for some reason you don't like it, for whatever reason that might be, you can send it back to the company within the first 60 days, and they'll send you your purchase price back. You get 50% off MyPillow by using code FTL like Free Talk Live. That's code FTL like Free Talk Live over at MyPillow.com. So we're going to go to your calls and thoughts, and then Johnson, you got some more from where was it? Was it the Phoenix? Who's reporting on this?
This on Arpaio is actually NPR.
Oh, NPR. Okay. So we're going to get into that coming up here. But first, John's in Michigan, listening online. Hello, John.
Hello.
Hey, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hello. Wait, give me a minute.
Certainly.
We don't necessarily have a whole minute, but if you can come back sooner rather than later. I don't know what that's going to be, but I'm just going to go ahead and drop that call because it's not a music show. Maybe you want to share your wonderful tastes in music with us, but sort of by the nature of talk radio, we don't really do music. Now, every now and then,
we really don't do waiting around for a minute while you.
No, we don't
out
do that
your
either.
Dumb prank.
Yeah, right. Every now and then,
it's a radio show, there, guy. Even if you're gonna call and prank, at least be funny.
Yeah.
Be
Johnson,
prepared.
You long for the days back when we used to have really good prankers.
Aliens, I like them.
But I'm sorry, something happened and they just disappeared. They dried up. There are no good prankers anymore.
Oh no! Every now and then we'll get a decent one.
When was
Cobra
the last
Commander,
time?
2012.
Cobra Commander. This
2012.
2012. Ian, that's
it was
5
this decade
years ago. Half a decade ago.
Well, I mean, there have been some okay ones between now and then. Jamie came back, the Jamie from
Jamie
Kentucky.
Told You So is not a pranker.
You think he's real?
He's just some redneck.
I don't know, man. I think he might. I don't know.
Maybe the prankers have taken it to a next level, and all the chronic callers are actually pranks, and we just don't get it. They're too meta for us.
I see.
Sarah from Arizona.
The prankers have gone to Facebook to be able to troll people directly.
Or I should say Sarah and James from Arizona. And where's the island guy from? Who's
Ralph?
Ralph from
the Philippines.
New Jersey.
Originally from the Philippines,
but now he lives
in Jersey now.
Yeah, Jersey. Yeah, they're all just prank calls.
Well,
come on, El Animal or El Negro Animal. How can that not be a prank?
There has been for a long time theories that some of these people are prankers, and I don't know.
Crappy theories.
Anyway, the toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Like freedom, that's 855-450-3733. We do, Mark, have an option for those that do want to play music on a talk radio show. You will sell them airtime on our podcast. So we've actually had a couple of...
I have an artist package for musical artists
where we feature their song after the show.
Yeah.
And that way it makes sense, right? Like it's not music interrupting the middle of a talk show. It's coming after our show's over. And, oh, hey, you guys listening, you might like this song. Here you go. And then those who want to continue to listen can do that. And those who don't really care about that style of music can just punch out and be done with the show at that point. So if you really want our listeners to hear your favorite song, well, we'd be happy to sell you one of those ad packages. Just reach out to Mark at freetalklive.com. Anyway, back to the story here from NPR on Joe Arpaio facing charges from a federal court.
As I mentioned earlier, one of Arpaio's lawyers, Jack Wilenchik, called the timing of the prosecution problematic. It was filed only 2 weeks before his election, he said. Arpaio's supporters believe that the criminal case is really about politics, Democrats trying to hurt a Republican sheriff. Those supporters hope...
But wait, they haven't dropped the charge. It's now a Trump administration.
Yeah. Well, they say the supporters hoped the Trump administration would drop the criminal case. But even though President Trump is friendly with Arpaio and the two see eye to eye on immigration, prosecutors are moving forward.
Trump's got his own problems.
Yeah, Wilenchik says that the case is hypocritical. The federal government is prosecuting him for doing something that the federal government told him to do, he said. Border Patrol has been telling local law enforcement forever to call them if they encounter an illegal alien. Wilenchik plans to argue the judge's order wasn't clear and that Arpaio did not intentionally violate it. This criminal case stems from a long-standing racial profiling lawsuit Latino drivers and passengers brought against Arpaio and his office. In 2013, the judge ruled that Arpaio's immigration enforcement tactics unfairly targeted Latinos. Arpaio also gained, well, it's kind of hard when you're in Arizona to not, I would say. Anyway, Arpaio also gained national attention for Tent City, an outdoor jail that he opened in the 1990s as part of his tough-on-crime stance. Inmates lived outdoors in the Arizona heat and were issued striped jumpsuits and pink underwear. His successor announced earlier this year that it would be shut down.
All right.
Yeah. If Arpaio, now 85, is convicted, he faces a fine or up to 6 months in prison. Though this case is really about whether or not Arpaio purposefully disobeyed a federal judge's order, Lydia Guzman sees this trial as a chance to hold Arpaio accountable for the impact his immigration crackdown had on the Latino community. His legend will be that he destroyed our community and he got busted for it.
And only had to go to jail for up to 6 months.
Yeah.
Which is your typical maximum sentence for a contempt of court charge. In some cases,
but maybe during that 6 months they can throw him in one of those hot boxes that he made people sit in. That were,
make him the last one.
Imagine if he just dies in it, because that's probably what would happen. It's somebody who's 85 thrown into one of those, horror factories that he
terrible,
created.
Yeah.
Maybe he should be the last prisoner in the Tent City.
No, that's not the way this is done. It's terrible no matter who gets thrown in there.
Yeah, but it would be a taste of his own medicine, though. I mean, there's some irony, isn't there?
Well, if people are scared about the notion of that happening to him, then they should be scared about the notion of that happening to anyone. You don't take people, bad people, put them in a bad place full of other bad people, treat them badly, feed them bad food, dress them in bad clothes, and expect them to get out and act good.
Even Joe Arpaio,
What kind of lunatic thinks this happens?
See, that's the thing. I don't expect Joe Arpaio to get out and act good no matter how he's treated.
Joe Arpaio's 85 years old. He's a self-solving problem.
Well, there's no doubt about that. And kudos to his successor for making the sane, humane decision to shut down Tent City after 20 years or however long it's been around. More coming up here in moments. 855-450 free is our number. 855-450-3733. You can take control of the airwaves and bring up anything here on Free Talk Live.
Is that Ellen painting her garage?
Yesterday she was trimming her hedges.
What's her secret?
I heard she was eating this new super berry called the Aronia berry.
Aronia what?
Aronia berries from superberries.com. They're known for having one of the highest levels of antioxidants that helps with overall wellness.
Where can we get them?
Go to superberries.com/radio. And right now we get a free smoothie recipe book with our order. Plus we can save $4 at checkout.
I can't wait. I've got lots of projects I need to get done.
Yes, you do.
Choose health. Eat purple. Superberries.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Free Talk Live.
For the listeners, each talk show has like you're in the Joe Blow Army, or, the Ditto Heads. Do the lefties have it too?
I couldn't tell you.
Ed Heads, isn't?
Yep, Ed Heads.
Yeah, Ed Heads. So they all have them. I really want to hear from you.
I'd like to rename our listeners Mindless Free Talk Live Zombies. What do you think?
Free Talk Live automatons.
Call in if you're a mindless Free Talk Live zombie.
What does it mean to you to be left? What does it mean to you
Progressive.
to be right? What does it mean to you to be conservative? What does it mean to you to be liberal? I think they're very vague concepts that pit people against one another. Many people who otherwise, in the absence of being able to plaster themselves with that label, might find out they've got an awful lot in common.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern. Live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that tenth of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, you dial toll free and bring up whatever you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE. Like freedom, 855-450-3733. We've got Skype. So Skype on in here at username LRN.FM. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Johnson.
And Mark.
To your phone calls and thoughts. Speaking of Skype, that's where we're going next with Michael on the line. Michael, where are you calling from tonight?
I'm up in Ohio.
Excellent. Welcome. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Well, you guys were talking about Arpaio and jail and prison and blah, blah, blah. And earlier this morning, much like yesterday, I got to listen to Morning Talk Radio and was listening to Public Radio International. I wish for the life of me I could remember the show name, but I can't. But the host, she was talking to a guy. He was a writer, a journalist or something, and would always try to talk, try to learn about the correction system and would always get shot down. But then he decided, let me see about getting a job. So he got a job as a local corrections officer. They asked him very little about his background. They, they were like, "Hey, great, somebody with a pulse."
Yeah, it's fine. It's hard to find people for that job.
It's getting harder and harder. Yeah,
the pay was really low, and apparently they failed to look at the fact that he actually served time in an Iranian prison for being a dissident within that regime. So
cool.
Listening to this, it was about a 20-minute long story, to this person who obviously experienced a pretty rough prison term, then coming to the U.S., learning the only way you can actually learn anything about it is to work in it, because so few people want to put themselves into, such dangerous work for what, 20, 22, 24,000 a year, maybe, depending on where you are. So when it was interesting though, because while he was explaining all this, he wished prison upon nobody, as far as it actually being a form of punishment or of corrections or of, somebody feeling that they got justice and got closure for a crime that was committed. Apparently this is the idea of the U.S. prison system is a pretty tough concept to grasp, much like caning is a difficult concept for we Westerners to grasp. So just wanted to throw that info out there and let you all maybe chew on that for a while.
Yeah, I know that Daryl W. Perry, who's one of our other show hosts, was actually a corrections officer for a short period of time. And anybody that's been in there as either an officer or as an inmate, you can see the turnover. I mean, it's a pretty high level of turnover in that job.
I wouldn't
stressful.
I wouldn't say that I'm like on the side of the convicts, even if I, as an ex-convict, ended up as a correctional officer. Look, what can you do to make people's lives better other than not acting like a complete a-hole? I mean, that's really, I have a great deal of sympathy for people who work those positions because it's a really tough job. You're working with jerks all day long. The pay is low, and
I wonder how many times though that concept the way that you feel about that, I wonder how many times that's been used for a corrections officer to justify them helping one of their favorite inmates, smuggle in some goodies.
Oh, I'm sure that it's been done.
God bless those officers.
As a matter of fact, I can assure you that it has been done.
I mean, they interviewed this guy that was a corrections officer. It's been done, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
I've been there.
They get caught from it all
when
the time.
It's been done.
Yeah. Hey, go ahead, Michael.
Just as far as Arpaio, putting him through that, I think, I don't remember which of you three was mentioning it, but an eye for an eye leaves the world blind, Well, let's serve justice, but the revenge may not be the best.
You're probably right about that. Hey, thank you, Michael, for the call. I appreciate hearing from you, and thanks for the thoughts. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733.
Justice is an incredibly difficult thing to get right.
Mm-hmm.
So, I can tell you that moment in my prison career when it went from sort of me just wanting to get out to me getting embittered by how long I was. Fortunately, I didn't spend much more time in prison after that. Some things changed in my case. The Florida Supreme Court ruled in my favor. I was released. You
were in for 9 years.
Yeah, I was put 8.5 years.
Okay.
Put into a work release program and then released. But it was getting really difficult to keep a positive mental attitude there as my sentence kind of kept getting changed by the vagaries of the system as time went by. You continue to act right all the time. You don't get any disciplinary reports, and then they just lengthen your sentence because some other guy who had a similar charge did something wrong when he got out or whatever it might be. And those things were beginning to embitter me, and those are the difficulties that are sort of set before a judge. How in the world are they going to figure out what the right period of time to put a given person in that is sort of going to rehabilitate them, or what is just? Define just. Is 10 years just? Well, if 10 years is just, is 9 years just, but 11 years isn't? Like, it has to be arbitrary. And legislators have taken more and more power away from judges. Judges bear the onus of these things, but it's not the judges who do this stuff. It's the legislators on up the line that have taken the power away from judges. Many times the prison staff has little to no power over.
They just got to keep you there.
But those are the ones that have day-to-day access to you and may or may not figure out. I remember my boss in prison, Sergeant Anderson, said he was just, for whatever reason, he decided to just give an assessment to the inmates that worked for him of who was going to come back and who wasn't. And
come back to work for him?
Come back to prison.
To prison, nice.
To return to prison. And, I happened to come in on the tail end of this one, and my friend and I came in, and he correctly assessed that I would not return to prison, and that my friend who was working with me definitely would.
And did he? He did?
Yeah, he's in prison right now. He just, every time he gets out and something goes wrong, he decides crack smoking is going to be a good idea for him.
Oh, boy.
Then that happens, and he decides, well, time to break into some
businesses.
Time
to rob somebody. Need more crack.
Yeah, steal. He doesn't rob.
Steal,
But,
okay.
yeah, and then off he goes. And for another 5, 6, 7-year stint, he was a habitual offender then.
Jeez.
So, there's, what do you do? What do you do?
Legalize crack.
Well, yeah, that would probably... He'd probably just smoke himself to death at that point.
Well, problem solved.
Yeah, indeed.
The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE, like freedom.
The point I'm trying to make here is if Sergeant Anderson had the ability to make decisions on what my sentence would have been like.
He might have been better than a judge.
He would have been better off than a judge, and certainly better off than the legislators and in Tallahassee and whomever on these on how long I should have served, because he knows whether I'm going to come back or not. Isn't that the point? I mean, the eye for the eye makes the whole world blind. Things very, very true.
Greg's in New York. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Greg. Watching us on online or listening online. Go ahead.
Online, yeah. I guess I'll be the subject with my call, but this is all fascinating for me. I wanted to talk about bringing the ideas of liberty, same thing you guys talk about, to the internet and on the internet. So what I mean by that is we have Facebook, we have Google, Apple, Amazon, and Microsoft. And these companies are kind of an oligopoly where you kind of join these large, quote-unquote, states, let's say this is Facebook, to chat, to leave comments. Right. And they're certainly useful, and there are economies of scale. So Facebook has a lot of money, they can hire a lot of people, and they could be miles ahead of, let's say, WordPress or something like that.
Right.
So people prefer it for that reason, but they give up their liberty in the sense that they can't make their profile read. They can't install analytics. They can't do anything really unless Facebook allows.
Right.
Exactly.
MySpace, back in the day, and I don't know how old you are, Greg, but back in the day with MySpace, you could design your page very thoroughly. Sparkles and themes and all kinds of stuff that could change the way it looked. Mine was Captain America-like, but anybody could do anything they wanted. Facebook doesn't allow that.
All right, there's more coming up here, Greg. Stand by. We'll bring you back here, let you get deeper into where you're going with this. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. It's like freedom, 855-450-3733. You can join us on the radio. This is Free Talk Live.
You have probably heard about Bitcoin and virtual currencies, but you really don't know what to do next. Maybe you feel like they have already passed you by. Nothing could be further from the truth. Bitcoin is an emerging technology still. It's still in beta and it's sweeping the globe. All the information that you need to learn about Bitcoin is at Bitcoin.com. Go to your browser, type in Bitcoin.com, choose a wallet program, get Bitcoins, and then spend Bitcoins. Bitcoin.com, the only site you need to know for virtual currencies. Bitcoin.com.
Ew, get the stinky dog away from me. DINOVITE.com.
Order a 90-day supply of Dinovite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of NomoFlea free.
NomoFlea flea spray kills fleas safely with no poison.
Because it's a polypeptide protein molecule made from
vegetable oil.
Try NomoFlea.
Free this week at Dinovite.com.
Everything we tried failed except the Dinovite. DINOVITE.com.
Are you happy washing your hands with harsh chemicals? Are you happy doing laundry with detergents? Are you happy paying high prices? Find your happiness with Pure Soap. These all-natural, earth-friendly Pure Soaps are the very best you've ever used. Buy in bulk. Get a 12, 36, or 48-month supply, or get items individually and still save big. You're getting soap products twice as good as what you're using now, earth-friendly and natural soaps. Your family deserves the best. Happiness is 5starsoap.com. Why not put your money up the drain for a change? See them at 5starsoap.com or call 1-800-340-7091 for a catalog. Cal Ben Soap Company can save you thousands of dollars and give you good old-fashioned real soaps that are triple concentrated. Soaps made from vegetable and coconut oils. See their full selection of soaps at 5starsoap.com. That's F-I-V-E starsoap.com. Or call 1-800-340-7091 for a catalog.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way.
You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring Simon to the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, Hey, who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today. This is...
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait on the calendar. Now. Wait a minute. Whoa. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me?
Because you scared me.
Property,
what am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this?
Bureaucrats
Democrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial toll free. Join us here. Our number, 855-450-FREE like freedom. We'll try to get you in here tonight. If you don't get in tonight, no big deal. We've got a live show that we do 7 nights a week. Every night, 7 to 10 at night, Eastern Time. You can join us here, and you can take control of the airwaves. With you tonight, you've got me, Ian.
And Johnson.
And Mark.
And don't forget, we've also got all kinds of cool features on our website, so head on over to freetalklive.com. where you can easily get interactive on the Free Talk Live forum. We just had new person, longtime listener of the show, new person to the forum, or I guess returning to the forum, Blackie, who many of our listeners may remember from the Free Talk Live BBS. It's cool to see some of the old faces showing up on the new Free Talk Live forum. It's free to interact with it. You just have to post an introduction post, which is the point of that is to keep out the spammers, basically. Sure. So you just have to post a brief introduction, and you'll be given access to post in the full forums over at forum.freetalklive.com. That's forum.freetalklive.com. As we go back to the phones and the fun, Greg is in New York. You had brought up these websites that you called an oligopoly. I mean, it's not really an accurate term because on the internet, anybody can compete. Anybody can create a website. Anybody can, have a website take off. Facebook was not what it is today when it started, right? It was a smallish website that was based only for college students to kind of have an online yearbook, basically, was the original idea as I understood it. And it's turned into this behemoth. But obviously not the average person can't go and drop $1 billion on designing a website, but you can make a website, and there are some competitors out there that I think are doing a decent job of giving people alternatives to these platforms like Facebook. But go on with your point.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, sure, I mean, in theory, a person could sit in their bedroom and make something exactly like Facebook, given enough time, maybe. But this is like a microcosm of what you see with the state. When you have a lot of resources, a lot of people choose to go and just sacrifice their liberty to be able to just use Facebook, and that's where all their friends are.
Yeah.
And they can see the photos, right?
Sure.
But of course, the downside is they don't own their own data. They don't have control.
Right.
And that's the trade-off. So I think what we're going to see in the future, though, is that a lot of stuff is going to be moved to the internet. So now we have Bitcoin. It's already decentralized control of money.
Yep.
So, if I want to send you money, no third-party middleman can block me from doing that.
That's correct. That's a huge advancement in the field of money.
Exactly. And I feel the same thing will happen soon with social media. So you will be able to own your own identity, have your own data profiles without relying on Facebook, just like you're not relying on a bank when you basically send Bitcoin. So I think in the future, what's going to happen is very simple. Government, a lot of government functions will be run by a community through software. Everything from money to taxation to unconditional basic income and single-payer systems will be local. You're going to have a neighborhood run it, and the people are going to vote in a cryptographic manner for each of these policies locally. And I think that would be, you'll have a lot more choice.
Well, hold on.
Right now with countries.
That's quite possible.
I'd like to see more choices. I support that.
I'd like to direct you to Ethereum. It's a platform that would allow you to do such a thing. You could enter a community. It wouldn't necessarily have to be local. You could enter into a community worldwide.
Oh, he's gone.
Did we lose him?
Yeah,
you could enter into community worldwide that would allow you to certain types of governments. It allows for. Pretty much anything, but contracts, whatever the contract might be, it implements it. So what he says is 100% true. Here's the difficulty. The difficulty is when you give rich people the ability to leave, poor people can't tax themselves to prosperity.
Mm-hmm.
It's not possible to tax yourself to prosperity. Taxation is a redistribution of wealth, and it's a disincentive for wealth creation.
Right, and this basic income thing is a you pretty much have to have the ability to print money to have that, right? Or you have to have all these rich people to just tax to death.
Right. And so I think the fundamental flaw in this is that if you make communities self-governing, small communities, rich people will simply move together like they have on islands like Guernsey and the Cayman Islands and Channel Islands. And I don't know, I'm not coming up with...
St. Kitts?
Yeah, St. Kitts probably. Certainly Hong Kong has areas. Lots of different ways. They just move together so that they're in areas where they don't get taxed, so that they can keep more of their wealth.
Makes sense.
So that they can then distribute that wealth as they wish. And what I see, the rich people that hit the news that I see are distributing their wealth. They're saying that their children, we'll leave our children, $1 million. $1 million is a lot of money for a young person, for a person to have. And then the rest of their billions of dollars then go get distributed through more efficient ways of distributing wealth than the government could ever possibly imagine. What the government has turned into in many ways is simply a way for the poor people that can't qualify for these other things. I have a story here where millionaires are cheating their way into welfare. So maybe it's not even poor people, just people who are, frankly want to take money from other people.
One of the stories I want to do over at Free Keene in the next few weeks when I get a chance, it's not a burningly urgent story or anything like that, is about some of the alternatives that we've found to some of these old or these prolific systems, these corporate-run social media systems. We've been experimenting with different alternatives and here in the Keene area, and that's one of the things that I think that we do pretty well is we want to try other things. We don't want to just rely on Facebook. And one of them has been this chat app called Riot, R-I-O-T. It's currently in beta. So I think it's got some promise. It's got some user kind of, issues where it
doesn't have promise to replace social media.
No.
Let's be realistic.
No. It's a chat app.
Yeah.
So it does one of the things that Facebook does. Facebook does chat.
Yeah.
And this does a better job than Facebook at chat. And one of the things that it would supplant, I think, more perfectly would be the Slack chat system. So
sure.
A lot of businesses use Slack, which is this corporate-run, basically a glorified internet relay chat is what Slack is.
Yeah. Okay.
And Slack, you have different rooms. You would have like your organization or your business signed up for this Slack thing, but Slack charges you like $5 a month per user. So
wow,
yeah, it's expensive.
That's crappy
to do this. And if you don't pay, they do have a free tier with Slack, so you can try it. But there's a 10,000, I think, either character or word limit, meaning that once the messages get older than 10,000 words, you can't go back that far. You can't search it. And one of the purported benefits of Slack is that you can search the old chats and things like that. Riot does everything that Slack does, except it does it decentralized and it does it open source, meaning that you don't have to rely on some corporation's existence to have your chat app exist. So if Slack goes out of business tomorrow, well, say bye-bye to, all of your chats that you've ever had. Say bye-bye to, being able to use that particular service ever again unless somebody happens to buy it and continues operating it. But, it's not uncommon for these websites to run out of cash, run out of their investors' money, and then poof, they're gone. Well, now you got all your stuff on there.
If they're getting $5 a user, they're probably not going to run out anytime soon.
Probably not, but nonetheless, you don't want to put your data into corporate hands if you can avoid it. And Riot's one of those programs that allows you to avoid that. So it allows you to run your own server. You can connect to the main Riot server if you want, but you can run your own server and you're still connected to the rest of the network. So it's a decentralized, still networked together sort of chatting system. That's one of them. That again, it's a very secure system, more so than Telegram, for instance, which is another great group chat app that we've used to some success here in Keene. As far as replacing social media, there are actually, we were looking at one of them, and I'm sorry I don't remember the name of it, but HumHub maybe. H-U-M, H-U-B, I think.
I'm not familiar with it.
This is a open source Facebook competitor.
Okay.
So you could install this on your server, and you can have people come onto your server and create pages and create groups and do the things that you expect to be able to do on a thing like Facebook, except you're in charge of it. It's running on your server.
It's like when I'm at home in my living room by myself. I'm in charge, and I'm the only one here.
You do have to attract people to it, which is the tricky thing. And then forum software, I think this Discourse forum is working pretty well that we're running the Free Talk Live forum on at forum.freetalklive.com. Go check that out. I've heard a lot of people saying they like it. And it's free, of course. Free Talk Live. We'll see you tomorrow.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
There's no better app for tracking the value of cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking Bitcoin, but none that's ever been able to track 500 digital assets at once. Their best feature is the Altfolio. I love this thing. You enter how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you have, and it tells you how much your crypto is worth. You can watch yourself get rich. If you have crypto, go right now to coincap.io, or you can use the Apple Store or Google Play to get the app. I love CoinCap. coincap.io.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, June 27th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.66 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,250 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 1.7 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $2,382. Antiwar.com reports Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson spoke on the phone on Monday discussing the ongoing war in Syria and the possibility of a new ceasefire being declared to allow the shift of focus in the conflict to fighting insurgent groups. Technically speaking, the ceasefire negotiated by Russia, Iran, and Turkey is still in place, though the U.S. was never formally a partner to that, and there was very limited rebel participation. The lack of involvement by the U.S. and Turkey's refusal to let the Kurds participate is a growing problem if the focus is to be on fighting against the Islamic State. That's because the U.S. and the Kurdish YPG are in the process of invading the Islamic State capital city of Raqqa, and Syrian allied forces are trying to attack the Islamic State targets further south, but every time they've gotten close, they've come under fire from U.S. warplanes. Lavrov insisted that the U.S. needs to stop its provocative actions against Syrian troops and simply let everyone cooperate against the Islamic State. The U.S. position isn't clear, though at times they've given lip service to the idea that they would welcome Syrian attacks against the Islamic State forces. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the U.S. Supreme Court announced on Monday it will review the case involving the Trump administration's temporary travel ban on people coming from 6 predominantly Muslim countries. The announcement came on the final day of the court's term before the summer break. Oral arguments in the case will be heard sometime in October. The court allowed the administration to implement part of the ban and said it would review the lower court rulings. In a 13-page opinion, the court narrowed the scope of the ban, saying it was not enforceable against those with a legitimate relationship with someone of some organization in the United States. Travelers could see the allowed restrictions within 3 days. President Donald Trump directed administration officials to implement his executive order within 72 hours after the court gives its approval. Trump issued a statement saying he viewed the Supreme Court decision as a victory. Trump's statement said, in part, "My number one responsibility as commander-in-chief is to keep the American people safe." A revised executive order issued in March by Trump limited travel from Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, and Yemen for 90 days. It also suspended U.S. refugee programs for 120 days. 2 federal appeals courts have since rejected portions of the order. The U.S. Court of Appeals in Richmond, Virginia ruled in May that the travel ban violated the First Amendment's ban on government establishment of religion. It relied on Trump's campaign statements calling for a Muslim ban. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com. Reuters reports former Arizona Sheriff Joe Arpaio, known for his hardline stand against undocumented immigrants, willfully violated a judge's order stemming from a racial profiling case, according to a federal prosecutor on Monday as a trial opened in Arpaio's contempt of court trial. A defense attorney called the case against Arpaio ridiculous and said the 85-year-old former lawman was just doing his job. Arpaio, who was ousted from office in an election last November, is charged in U.S. District Court in Phoenix with contempt of court. Prosecutors say he defied a 2011 injunction that barred his deputies from stopping and detaining motorists solely on the suspicion of being in the country illegally. During his opening remarks to the court, federal prosecutor Victor Salgado said the controversial traffic stops continued for 18 months with 170 people wrongfully detained. Arpaio faces up to 6 months in jail if convicted and has already been cited by another judge for civil contempt for the continued traffic stops in the underlying profiling case. District Court Judge Susan Bolton will render a verdict following proceedings that are expected to last about 2 weeks. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Despite being objectively awful people, newly engaged couple Ross Bird and Jessica Black want their upcoming wedding to really reflect their personalities.
We're pulling out all the stops to have a kind of wedding that just screams us.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a bluegrass band playing 80s pop songs. Because Ross loves bluegrass, but I love 80s music.
And then at the end of the ceremony, this is great. We're gonna pass out sparklers
to all the guests.
Sources claim that a bunch of candles in mason jars and an Instagram photo booth will truly capture the essence of the insufferable pair.
We didn't want some big, stuffy ceremony.
Yeah,
It should feel more like a fun dance party
Yeah.
for our friends.
Because the night's about us, yes, but I mean, it's also, about the people who make us us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And those people love us exactly for our uniqueness.
Sources hoped with every fiber of their being that these two would be divorced within a year.
This is the Onion News Network.
And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Today, let us make them remember. We are not afraid!
Each. So a very young Libertarian caucus has been formed in the State House. We have 3 now. Not quite 1%, but we get one more. The Libertarian Party will have 1% of the New Hampshire 400 state representatives, which, by the way, the 3 that New Hampshire has is 3 more than the rest of the 49 states combined. So yay for New Hampshire. The Liberty Movement is working. It's yet more evidence that concentrating our activism and people here is a successful strategy. Now, with you in the studio tonight, you've got me, Ian.
And Johnson.
And Mark.
We're going to your phone calls and thoughts. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like Freedom, 855-450-3733. And you can Skype in, as our next caller is about to do, or our first caller is doing. Derek J. Freeman calling us, I presume, from the Seacoast in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Hello, Derek.
Wow, another victory for New Hampshire freedom lovers.
I know.
This place is the best. Pretty
Sure
soon,
is.
I'm going to get tired of all this winning.
Yeah, it's going to become not news after a while. So, oh yeah, another state rep flipped today. Apparently it's just going to be a thing. At least hopefully it will be, because 3 is pretty good for half a year. I mean, it's been basically less than 6 months, and 3 of them have flipped. So hopefully we can keep up the pace.
Well, one thing I wonder about this is, are these gentlemen's votes going to change because their parties changed? And if not, I would presume not.
They're no longer going to be pressured by the party leadership in the big parties, which was something that not in the same way.
Certainly not.
There's a certain factor, and if we had one of them on the show, they'd be better to ask about this. But in their speeches that they've been giving at these, press conferences that have been happening in Concord. So whenever one of them announces, they call a press conference, the Libertarian Party comes out, I drag my camera out and record it. But they frequently will talk about how unfree they felt within the old 2 political parties, that there's a lot of political pressuring that goes on, and it's very icky, and I don't imagine it's pleasant at all to deal with that. So that was some of the reasons why they left, but they all have their individual stories. And anyway, you can go to freekeen.com and you can search for Libertarian Party, and the last several posts from this year would show you more about that and give you their exact opinions. But anyway, Derek J., you were calling for a different reason. But just to cap
what Mark was saying, yes, absolutely, their votes are going to change. That's the reason why they come out as libertarians. And to use a comparison of gay people who come out of the closet and then start holding hands with their boyfriend in public, yeah, they felt pressured to act a different way because they were Republicans or Democrats, and they had to go with the party. Like they had to pretend that they're straight, and I don't like that person. So yeah, I think their actions are going to change, and that's the reason for these types of announcements. Now, I have exciting news you and your listeners are going to want to see right now at the top of freekeene.com. You talked about it a little at the end of last night. The Free State Project has been exposed by Democrats. They are terrified of what's happening, the progress that libertarians and anarchists are making towards New Hampshire secession. Well, see the baby steps they're taking, and they're alarmed.
I'm confused by all of this. Go ahead.
Well, they're alarmed, and that's why they're holding info sessions to get organized and stop us. So I posted one of